Talk Show. Recorded live.
Welcome to the Lost Lowdown, podcast number 33, with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
Today we're talking about episode 321, Greatest Hits. And speaking of greatest hits, we forgot to mention our, our 1 year anniversary recently passed.
Yeah.
It was episode 320 that marked sort of a year since we've been doing it. We started with 220, so that was the first episode we podcast about. So we hit a little milestone there. That was nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nothing much to say, I guess.
Well. Yeah, it seems like if you count by date, it might be different or something, but that was the episode.
Yeah.
So I just realized that in the middle of after we did the last one, and so I was like, wow, that's kind of nice. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's been that long.
It has. It has been that long.
But okay.
Turn up the volume. I don't know how to do that.
I don't either.
I would say turn up your speakers, maybe, if
Yeah.
that's possible.
Yeah.
Toxie is very limited in its features, and we do want to apologize to, the people who, if there's any trouble yesterday, Toxie was down. We had problems connecting, as I'm sure most of you did. So,
sorry. I'm going to try not to just, respond to stuff I read, because that won't make any sense to people listening.
I see.
Unless I read it, but I read something that said but I wasn't responding to you, and it probably sounded weird. Anyway.
Yeah, it did. It very much did. All right, man. So
the episode, right?
The episode that we're all here congregating about. Pretty good. I liked the episode just fine. Didn't love it. I liked it. But I think maybe this is probably for me the worst episode in terms of the writing, in terms of character motivations and some of the little details that I find important. The writers sort of screwed us on that, I think. But just really annoying things the characters did.
Uh-huh.
But what did you think of this ep?
In general, I liked it. It wasn't great. Last week was fantastic, so compared to that, it doesn't look that good. But I was actually expecting to really hate this episode. I knew it was a Charlie episode, and I was just expecting this to be really terrible, and I got to sit through this to get to the finale.
Yeah.
But it had a few features that I liked. I liked the impromptu others flashback and stuck in the middle there, which is sort of a different something they don't usually do, giving a flashback to someone else in the middle of somebody else's flashback episode. I in general the Charlie stuff played out better than I expected it to. I got to the point where I was actually sympathetic to Charlie. I didn't think I could do that at this point, but I couldn't hate him in the end. And
well, you can't hate someone who's about to, put their life on the line for someone else. It's hard to hate a person like that.
Yeah.
I was, really ready to say goodbye to Charlie. I don't really like him in general. I think he's really annoying, but it was. I really liked how they set up his death that didn't come. But
yeah,
I think as I said before, he was going to die with a lot more dignity than he lived his life, most of his life, that is. So I thought it would have been a really nice send off if he would have actually died in this episode. But
yeah. Yeah,
but,
I was already. I was like, wow, because I realized, as he was about to die, I'm like, man, I do have a certain, of all the characters, I like some of them more than others, but I do have a certain attachment for the people who have just hung around from the beginning, compared to the newer characters who you might like, more now. But they haven't hung in there for that long, and so
yeah.
So I was like, God, Charlie dying, that will be kind of weird. So I don't know, and I liked having the cliffhanger, but it did seem kind of like a cop out to not having. I don't know what they're going to do now if he's going to what's going to happen. If he's still going to die or what. Because this stuff that happens at the end wasn't a part of the thing. But I guess we should get into that later.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end we'll get into our predictions of who's going to die in the finale. I think there's several people up for grabs on that front.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk about it generally. Also, I wanted to mention for everyone that's listening and writing things. My understanding from reading is that there's some major finale spoilers out there. I don't know them, but I know they exist, and some of you might. And please don't tell us if you do.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that also. I'm a big spoiler-free guy, and I read like one little thing about the finale that was just sort of general thing. So yeah, if you guys could not like post on the little chat like Desmond blows Charlie's head off or something, like that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I know some people know these things because they're posted, and I've heard they're like pretty big, what's known right now. So so anyway.
Yeah. Oops. Nice.
It just happened. I don't know. Wow, that would be quite a finale.
Yeah, well, the show's over. Jack, Kate, Loxley, Hurley, and Juliet. Well, who else we got? It's the Sun and Jin show, ladies and gentlemen.
Sun and Jin show. Wow.
Yeah. Who else is going to step up to the plate?
Sun and Jin show.
Nobody else.
They could have a good, like, morning talk show kind of thing.
Jin always comments in everything in Korean, and yikes.
Oh God, yeah, right. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get into stuff because nobody wants to. I don't want to know. I mean, I was reading spoilers about some other episodes, but for the finale, I remember last year we had like there was a call sheet or something that we read. Not a call sheet. What do you call it?
Oh yeah, it was a call sheet.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah, it was a call sheet.
Yeah, of like some scenes with Libby and Desmond and.
Yeah, it didn't really do much though.
No,
I mean, it just told us like the scene. You still didn't know what they would be talking about. And,
we knew Libby was going to show up. It made us think it was going to be a lot more interesting than it was.
Yeah.
But. That's more than I know about this year's finale. So, anyway, that's all I got. But
all right, you want to talk about this episode?
Disclaimer. Yeah, I guess we can get started talking about this episode.
All right. Well, I didn't take my notes by scene, so we won't be going scene by scene. I will just go through our list of questions and little important tidbits here. And I do at one point want to go down what I call my pissed list. Things that made me get pissed, which is not to say drunk, but to say angry.
Exactly.
So we'll get through that in a sec. Let's see. What's the? I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
Me?
What do you want to throw out there? Oh yeah.
Who, me?
It's Sunday.
Yeah, it is. Let's see here. Oh, God. These notes are all over the place. Oh, God. This is hard. Hard.
Well,
wow.
you want to talk about the first scene?
I have no idea what to start with. All this stuff seems like a bad place to start.
Let's talk about the beginning. There's not a lot going on, but I've got some gripes.
Okay.
And I'm sure I talked to other people, and I think everyone has the same gripe at that beginning. The first thing is everyone's the gang is trekking through the jungle, following Jack, and they have no idea where they're going, and which I think at this point, into season 3, I don't know if I buy that. Beginning, season 1, season 2, I'll buy that they'll just, let's follow Jack. Where are we going? Oh, I don't care. Let's just follow him. But I thought it was a little crappy that they're just, oh, Jack says let's go, we just follow him wherever.
And strangely, pretty much just the series regulars were going.
Yeah.
The background characters didn't get to come.
Just like season 1.
That was odd. Yeah.
No, not you.
Oh God. Yeah.
So, then they get to where they're going, and then he stops to give him a little lecture and a little fill in the details. Juliet told me everything, and I'm like, what is everything? She told you about the pending kidnapping? Because that's not everything. There's a lot more going on than that,
Yeah, I think that's what he means, though.
Yeah.
I don't think she told him everything.
I know. I was like, oh, really? She told you everything she knew. That'd be great. Let's start at the beginning. Let's go alphabetically. Alfred, Richard. Talk about him.
Yeah, I seriously doubt she filled him in on any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Except only sort of the vaguest things that were needed to talk about. Yeah.
So my next big gripe with this episode was, Jack calls out for Rousseau, and she comes out of the jungle, and then they blow up the tree just to show that they have the dynamite and how much they have and all that stuff. And I just thought it was a waste of time and just like really contrived. But they got the point across. Great, we have dynamite. And I thought that would have worked if we didn't already go through the whole thing before with the dynamite and the Black Rock and Orange blowing up, and we know what's going on with the dynamite. It was just a waste of time.
Yeah, we've had a few, and then there was a dynamite explosion in the season 2 finale when Echo went and got the dynamite to try to blast open the blast door.
Yeah.
And that's where Charlie had that hearing problem and then went crazy for 5 minutes.
He went crazy for, yeah. Oh, man, I almost died and got blown up. Oh, be serious. Oh, you're right, I'm kidding.
Oh, you know me. I'm always making shit up.
What? Those people that died in the explosion aren't back yet? What? Oh.
Oh God, yeah. So I guess dynamite's going to play a role in all 3 finales.
Yeah, so it's the dynamite.
And I have to mention, this solves the mystery of what was Danielle doing when she went and got the dynamite.
Yeah.
In the last episode, I didn't think she would be getting it for the main character. I thought it was just for her, but apparently not.
I thought she was going to blow up Ben so she could take Alex back.
Yeah, I did too. I'm surprised. I guess what we're supposed to believe is that Jack and Juliet went and met with her, and then she went to get the dynamite for them. Yeah.
There was one of those scenes when they maybe it was it the last episode when Jack and Juliet came back by themselves?
Yeah.
And walking somewhere?
Yeah, that was when that was when Sawyer came back with the tape and Saeed and him were looking and she's not in her tent, and then Kate said they were gone.
Mhm.
And presumably that's where they were, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I was thinking about the Black Rock. I mean, if it has that much dynamite, you would think it would have wire too, right? I mean, wouldn't they have also used wire to blow up the fuse, to ignite the fuse?
Yes, maybe. Is that how they?
I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, how else do you ignite dynamite from a distance?
In the 1800s, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
It was a crazy time.
It was a crazy time. They just blind faith. They just tossed it and see if it would explode. You would think they would have a wire on the Black Rock too. That's on my point.
Yeah.
Part of the reason they didn't use the first plan of the many plans in this episode.
Right.
Was they couldn't get enough wire in time.
Maybe the wire decomposed.
Oh, decomposed.
Mhm. After 40 or 50 years, wire decomposes.
Oh, really? 40 to 50 years. That's how long ago the Black Rock was there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been there longer, so that's why it's really decomposed.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
With steel trap logic like that, what do
yeah,
you do?
we can't lose.
All right. And then we get another great line from Jack. When they come this time, we're gonna blow them all to hell. Sound like a line from like a World War II movie. Blow them all to hell, Clark Gable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Clark Gable, of course.
Of course.
Who else would it be?
Gary Cooper.
Yeah, that too. Sure.
All right. What do you want to go to?
Maybe John Wayne. I don't know. What? God, this is really hard for me.
That's what she said.
Because yeah. Because all this stuff that I want to talk about is like it's all over the place in topics, and it's about these big topics. It seems like we should raise the topic first, but
you got it?
I have a general thing I want to say. I should have said it earlier.
All right.
Also liked, in general, I liked the structure of Charlie's flashback, just having these like random events, not having a story.
Yeah.
You know?
Great. Yeah.
I like that. I don't know. It made his flashbacks much more tolerable.
Definitely.
Just having like a scene.
Well, because they were all great hits.
Yeah. They were all great hits. Yeah, and it wasn't just another like, oh, Charlie's fucking up because he's on drugs story, you know.
Yeah, we've had enough of those.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch another one of those. Or you'll never save anybody.
You'll never save anybody except Claire and Aaron.
Enough. Yeah. So anyway, so I like that. I should have said that at the beginning, and there's nowhere to go with that, but I want to throw that in.
All right. Well.
So,
speaking of Charlie, I thought it was really, really fitting that he decided to quit Drive Shaft right before his song gets played on the radio.
Of course.
Like, oh, this is too much. I quit. And then, oh, look, we're famous now. If I would have hung in for 5 more seconds, everything would have been all right.
Of course. Is
it just me, or is Liam very scary looking?
He is, yeah, especially
those
in that rain scene.
Yeah, those eyes are like really intense, and I just thought he was just gonna like chomp on him, eat him or something.
Yeah, definitely. He could really be a demon person.
Yeah.
If
very demon-like.
If it were a different show or movie. Because when he was out there like yelling at him, like those eyes are just really frightening. I don't know.
Yeah, bloodthirsty.
Yeah, definitely. There's something hungry and evil there.
And it's his wanting of stardom in the music business.
Yeah, of course.
He's got his eyes on the prize.
So. I mean, I have a bunch of notes about this Charlie situation. I don't know. Should we talk about that or?
What do you mean, situation?
Situation? I don't know. Whatever.
What do you have about the Charlie situation?
Okay. See, I don't know. This all goes all the way to the ending, and I don't even know if I should bring this up yet. But I wanted to say, Desmond's vision. He sees a few things apparently. Claire and Aaron get into a helicopter, but also somehow the only way that's going to happen is
yeah, that's number 1 on my pitch list for this episode. Let's talk about old surefire Desmond. old faithful Desmond. He's never wrong with his predictions and his analysis of his predictions. Let's talk about that. Yeah,
he's definitely got a great track record so far.
Yeah. Oh man.
They are not the best. But anyway, somehow he knows that Charlie has to go do this thing, otherwise that won't happen. And sort of the way the thing plays out, confusing to me. I guess, you know, there's a lot of things in this. There's basically a lot of what are they called? Revelations, I guess, in this episode.
What are they called?
Well, I wanted to think of the right word. You know, basically like changes. Like we think it's one thing, and then it's something else. You know, that kind of thing.
Like a twist.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's sort of a twist, but like a weak twist. You know.
Yeah.
So originally, we're led to believe by Juliet that the Looking Glass station is flooded, and but just like, and that's what Ben claims, I guess. But somehow,
I didn't believe it.
Somehow it just still works.
That's the thing. Like you know, no matter where you are in the universe, water will always short out electronics.
Mm-hmm.
Like the island may be crazy, but it ain't that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, how does it work when it's flooded? Like electronics are working perfectly. Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't buy that.
Yeah, I didn't buy that either. But the fact that Juliet, I'm going all over the place. The fact that Juliet said that made me want to question, you know, what she was saying in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made me think, because she was the one who said that, because there's also this issue of, you know, using the satellite phone, and, you know, at first we're led to believe that Rousseau's signal is blocking it.
Which makes no sense either.
And then Juliet says no. And so, yeah, so that's like, so there's like two revelations there or something. And so what's my point supposed to be?
I don't know. You're all over the place.
I know. That's
You brought up like 5 things. There's 5 things in the air right now. I'd like to see you tie all these together.
See, I'm trying to set this. This is why I was having a hard time bringing something up. I can't seem to focus on a nice little topic. It's just all over the place, bringing up like most of the major issues of the episode.
I think it's a little early to be drinking, don't you think?
Not here. It's 5.
Oh, okay. That's still a little early, my friend.
Nah, 5 is fine.
Still a little early.
That's why they say, you know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, 5. That's what alcoholics say.
Oh, well.
There's a difference. You got to think about who are the people who say that.
Yeah, okay. I guess you're right about that.
So what's your point?
So my point is, I wanted to talk about what this is going to get somewhere, I think. What I wanted to talk about is, what do you think Desmond actually saw happening?
Oh, is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
You brought up Desmond, you brought up Juliet, you brought up Rousseau, you brought up like 5 things, and you want to talk about the first thing, which is Desmond's flashes.
Well, I wanted to set the stage.
Okay.
You got to set the stage.
Okay. I want to talk about like all the things you brought up too. There's little things I want to talk about there. What do I think he saw? I think he basically saw Charlie swim. I think he saw Charlie swimming, Charlie flipping a switch, Charlie drowning, and then you know, like he said, Claire and Aaron getting into a helicopter. What I think is going to happen personally as a prediction for the finale, I think Charlie is going to flip the switch, and I think what's going to happen is he's going to they're going to, you know, obviously try to stop the signal from being on. And he's going to realize the only way to do that is to flood the station. And so, or at least he thinks that'll do it. So he's going to flip the switch, and the switch is going to be like the switch that floods the station, or like opens the door that'll flood the station.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to drown because of that, but of course he'll be able to the signal will short out.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. And do you think that's what he saw?
Well, I think he saw very small flashes of that, so he wasn't able really to put it together.
I got the impression that his vision was of Juliet's version, where it was already flooded, and he like walked in there and flipped the switch, and swam in there, flipped the switch, and then drowned.
That's what they want you to believe, that that it was already flooded and he drowned because, he had to go swim to where the switch was. But obviously it's not flooded.
Yeah.
And Desmond shouldn't have seen that feature because that's not what happens. It's not flooded.
Yeah.
And she's wrong. I think that was just the thing. The writers want you to think that. I thought that too, in the beginning, that he was going to drown because he was underwater the whole time. He was going to flip the switch just in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to talk about this whole plan of theirs to swim to the switch. I think is totally, totally ridiculous. Like, they have no idea where the switch is. It'd be different if they had, on the schematic it showed, like, the likely candidate for a switch, and they were like, well, you can hold your breath in time to get to it, but for all they know, the switch could be, like, behind a locked door. It could be on a different level they can't find. Like, there's no reason to believe he could actually hold his breath long enough to swim into a flooded station and do what you need to do to get to the switch, I thought that was really crazy,
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it doesn't matter because that's not what happened.
Right.
But, like, the switch could be behind a locked door. How did you get through that? Like, it didn't seem like they really anticipated what could have happened,
mm-hmm.
What the situation would be, But anyway, I think he saw what he said he saw, but it was just fragments. And I think they wanted the audience to believe that it was going to be flooded, like Juliet said, and he was going to drown flipping it.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to drown after he flips it, because I think flipping the switch is what's going to flood the station.
So he didn't see the women with the guns.
No.
That was just like a scene missing in his little.
Oops.
Yeah, he swims in, and then something happens with the gun women, and then somehow he finds a switch and flips it, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's my thing.
That's your thing? What does that mean?
That's my topic.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So let's talk about the whole scene with the schematic and the first planning scene with the signal and turning it off and all that. Danielle says, who is it? Saeed believes that it's Danielle's signal who's blocking the sat phone from working, which I think makes no sense. I'm not a communications expert or former communications officer for the Iraqi what's it called, the Royal Guard or something. Republican Guard. There we go. And but anyway, that didn't really make any sense to me. And then Rousseau says that the message, the signal has been playing for 16 years and no one's heard it. Why do you think you'll have better luck? And I'm like, well, he thinks he'll have better luck because he's not trying to send a signal. He's got a sat phone that's made to communicate with that ship that's out there. So that's why he thinks he'll have better luck, because he's got something else that might work.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not trying to use, the same thing that she was using.
Mm-hmm.
And that also brought up another point. I mean, do you think that the ship that's 80 miles offshore could actually be picking up Rousseau's message?
I know. I think this underwater station is blocking that as well.
Blocking everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you think it's been blocking that for like 16 years or whatever? Is that the idea?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I mean, at some point, when Rousseau was Rousseauing around, I don't know, originally came, they came to the island because they heard the number transmission, which is transmitted from the same place. I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to believe about that. At that point, had the purge not happened yet, or had it, and the others hadn't figured out the whole looking glass thing yet? I really don't know what to think. Maybe it was on for a few years and then it got turned off, or I don't know. I mean,
here's a question similar related. Do you think, before we had heard from the others that after the failsafe went off, all their communication was down? Now, do you think that was a lie, that the communication is quote unquote down, but it's really just being blocked by the looking glass?
Well, she said, are you saying no? Yes. Wait, what was the question? Was she lying, or who?
No,
lying?
not she. I mean, the others, like Pickett and you know, early in the season after the failsafe went off, there was at least 2 or 3 comments about none of the communications by either working.
Yeah.
But do you think it was just the looking glass, and that the others who said that didn't know that Ben was blocking their signals?
Well, they had been working before the hatch thing, presumably, or they wouldn't notice that they weren't working now.
Well, yeah.
Are you suggesting that Ben turned it off like right around the same time?
I'm saying that Ben turned it on around the same time.
That's what I mean. By turned it off, I meant turned off the ability to transmit signals.
Yeah.
Turned on the looking glass like right at the same time to make them think that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because I mean either that's true or they were. I mean, what was the whole deal? You know, they said, our communications aren't working because of the failsafe.
Mm-hmm. Well, according to Juliet, the looking glass blocks everything but their stuff. So, you know.
Well, but I feel like couldn't it still block their stuff too?
Well, yeah, it could.
But yeah, it is weird that she said that, but she didn't seem to add, even though our stuff isn't working, like.
Yeah, that was what confused me. And she knows about the looking glass. You know, it seems like if they knew about it too, you know, I don't know, they might say, realize there's another way, you know, and if they had any suspicions of Ben not wanting them to communicate, you know, then maybe they could put together. But I don't know what we're supposed to think. I guess I feel like maybe it's just conflicting things and they're both true.
I mean, do you think that the looking glass is blocking all the non-other communications, and the failsafe is blocking the others' communications?
Yeah.
You know, but it seems to be. You would think that, well, why even have the looking glass on if the failsafe blocks out island communications? Yeah.
Well, before that, it made sense.
Yeah.
But now it does seem as though it's not doing anything unless it only blocks the others' communications, and the looking glass blocks everything else. Which is just ridiculous, I think.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Maybe so. Maybe that's supposed to be a revelation. I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that either. I don't know. Bad writing, or they're going to explain it.
Because I do feel like the thing is real. You know, the failsafe, hatch implosion, shutting down the communications. I believe that. I guess I feel like this other thing is just kind of an extra thing it's true too, but don't worry about how they interact.
Or what if the failsafe interference was just temporary?
Yeah, it could be that too. Or maybe the looking glass isn't doing anything, and they'll shut it down and realize they still can't do anything.
Maybe. That'd be a waste of time.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty crappy. But, I mean, I don't think there's any way they're getting rescued.
Yeah.
So,
well, apparently Carlton and Damon said they're not getting rescued.
Oh, really?
Not to spoil anything. Sorry, guys, but...
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the show, unless you're talking about the last episode or something, really makes sense with them being rescued. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know why it's not going to happen. But,
that's the thing. I mean, I don't think they're going to get rescued either. I just wonder what's going to happen with Naomi. Is she going to get killed? Is she going to become a regular character? You know, I mean, her boat is fairly close, to where they are. Are they going to just give up looking for her and assume she's dead? You know, are the others going to fake a helicopter crash so that her company sees it and thinks she's dead? You know what I mean? Like, how are they going to get, finish her little arc here if they don't get rescued? I mean, and then you have what Desmond said, that he saw Claire and Charlie get in the helicopter. Maybe that's, 3 years from now or something. Or maybe a helicopter will come and people are getting on board. A lot of them maybe background people and Claire and Aaron, and then like it has to take off because the others are attacking or something, and and then like it can't find its way back or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they could do that. They could let a few people off. Obviously, most of the main characters won't get off.
Yeah.
That's possible. And then, there has to be a reason why they can't come back, which is certainly possible for them to make up some shit as to why they can't come back.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm going to go out on a limb and say no one's getting rescued until, really close to the end.
Okay.
I just don't think that. And for Naomi, I say she either dies or they like her character and keep her around.
Okay.
That seems like that's how it works. Like with Desmond and Ben and stuff. They could have easily been like couple episode characters, but they liked them and decided to try to keep them around. So I think it depends on how much they like her.
Mhm.
Well,
she needs to start doing something.
Yeah, she's not doing anything.
Besides being hoarse in this episode.
Yeah, she's a hoarse one.
She was weirdly hoarse.
Oh, that scene with her and Charlie, I really didn't like that part when she's like, so, what did she say? I gotta look at the transcript. She said something, she asked about the others. She said something like, so tell me about the people that something.
Yeah, who are these people you're going to war with?
Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's pretty much what she said.
And then Charlie says, oh, that's a long story. Want to ask me something else?
Yeah,
like,
I kind of like that. I actually kind of like that because it was obviously sarcastic. It was true, but like obviously sarcastic. I mean, was he really going to take the time to explain the whole conflict with the others? I actually kind of like that line.
Hated that line.
And then she's like, "Are you being funny, mate?" Whatever.
That was like a video game line to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was.
I think
it was sort of. It wasn't trying. I don't think it was trying not to be. I thought it was. It was like obviously.
It doesn't matter. It may have been trying to be shitty. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it was trying to do.
It's just kind of like meta humor. You know what I mean? Like it's calling attention to itself. Which I mean, I don't think you can blame it for being bad when it knows it's bad. Yes,
I can. And I do. I do. If you intentionally write something shitty, I don't care. It's still shitty. It doesn't matter what your intentions were.
Well, I think it's worse if something's bad and it's trying to be good than when it's bad and it's bad. It's trying to be bad. I mean, it accomplished its goal, I think that's different when it's something's trying to be good. Its goal is to be good, and then it's bad. I mean, it failed. So, I mean, I guess you don't have to like it, but it didn't fail in what it was trying to do.
Yeah, it didn't. But I don't think, the goal of writing a bad line, I mean, great, good for you. I mean, I don't see that as a great goal to aspire to, and, oh, wow, you succeeded, you wrote something shitty. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's part of writing.
I can't praise
that. Write in a certain kind of genre like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of writing.
I think people should write good stuff. That's just me. It just doesn't seem, And it was just really awkward and like, I mean, he could have given her a short explanation.
No, I don't think. I mean, he could have, but that wouldn't have been, prudent for the audience to sit through that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, they weren't going to let us sit through it, but realistically.
I mean, the whole point of that was the whole point of that scene was the whole greatest hits thing, and to get the information that she's from England and she heard about him before and that was the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just had to get there, and it went from he made a joke, and then she said oh, you're making fun of me or whatever, and said I would make fun of a fellow whatever he said
Mancunian.
Good words.
That's just one of my fundamental problems. I just don't like to give credit because you're trying to do something shitty and you succeed. To me, that's...
Well, it's not necessarily that it's shitty. It's just, it's like, an artist trying to make, a painter trying to paint in a Cubist style. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to do something specific in terms of writing. You know what I mean? And I think they accomplished it. You may not like, the Cubist style, but they still accomplished their goal. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think it's a matter of not... I mean, I think it's a matter of not liking low-quality writing, not like... a style, I mean, to me, there's not like a great style.
But that's
style
still a style, though. That's still a style to write. I think it can be a style to write in low quality writing. Depending on like characters and stuff like that. I mean, anyway, let's not harp on it.
Yeah.
Deal.
No, I just wanted to mention my general thing because I hear that a lot. Like all the time, really. Oh well, it wanted to be bad, so it's okay. Like I don't know. I just never really bought that, so I just wanted to say that for the record because I have a platform.
Because you have a platform?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that you really had a platform.
No, it's a metaphorical platform.
All right. So the Looking Glass. Do you think it's one of the stations on the Blastdoor map?
Nope.
You don't.
Yes. Wait. On the Blastdoor map?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I mean, the Blastdoor map is just ridiculous. I mean, why? Maybe. I have no idea. I mean, how is one to know? It might or might not be.
Yeah. Well, the point of my question was I was wondering what you thought.
You want me to take a stand?
I don't want you to tell me the absolute truth because you don't know it. So. Don't do that because you can't.
But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's hard for me to decide because I feel like it could easily go either way.
Okay.
I'm on the fence, but you want to force me to take a stand? I'll say this feels so arbitrary. I'll say sure, why not? It's one of the unmarked stations.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't think it is.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Because I think the only way they would have, Rosinski or Kelvin would have known about it is if they got, some sort of documentation of its existence, and they wouldn't have necessarily known where it was.
Yeah.
Because Juliet knew about the station and still didn't know where it was, and she,
yeah,
is privy to, more information than I think Kelvin and Rosinski were to, to a certain degree.
Yeah, if they're just trekking out. It is odd though that they have these like I think there's a station here. I mean it's sort of an odd when you look at the map, you wonder what they were doing. There's that part with the station that's like crossed out. Like I thought there was a station there, but there's not. Like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That always to me I thought was like the station's not there anymore, or like he thought the station was in that area, but no, it wasn't in that area. It was in another area or something. And, maybe he had a list of station names or read something that said there's, 8 stations total or something. And, a lot could be going on with that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I guess if you think about it, he shouldn't have found it. The only way it would be on there is if he had reason to think, if he had some inside knowledge.
Yeah.
About it. Like, I know there's an underwater station or something, and, and maybe if he found the cable, maybe he'd say maybe it's here. I don't know. That would be the only way that'd be possible. But I'm just saying yes because I don't know. Why not? But I wanted to say something about the schematic.
Okay.
First of all, a pet peeve of yours appears on this schematic. It says at the top, the Looking Glass hatch.
Yeah. It says that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's really, 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 really funny. That's hilarious.
I paused it.
Someone who watches the show created that schematic.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it's a case of either Greg Nations or the prop people falling into the trap that the people on the show fall into just by the fact that, which it makes sense for them on the show, I think, it's sort of the kind of thing that an initial misunderstanding turns into a term, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I like it on the show, but yeah, from outside the show, and Dharma in particular, who knows what these things are, you know, shouldn't be calling them hatches.
Yeah, they really, really shouldn't.
It doesn't make sense, and I just thought that was funny. I think that's just them, you know, fucking up. I think if they had thought about it, they wouldn't have put that. But they just fell into that trap of, oh, they're all hatches.
Yeah, wow.
It's easy to think that way. So yeah, you can look. It's on the left side. They kind of like pan away from it.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
But anyway, I had to freeze. The other thing is there's a on the left diagram. There's sort of a picture of where the submarine's supposed to go. So I guess the preferred method to get down there is to take the submarine down.
Yeah. Well, you know, on the left-hand side of the schematic, it has a depth chart, a depth meter for how far to the little ocean floor there that the station is, and it actually has little arrows. I guess is showing how the sub is supposed to get there. You know, coming from the side and then going up to the middle of the little moon pool there. I love the little arrows. Just in case you don't get it, Dharma people who should know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the sub needs to get there. But like I said, it has a depth chart. I think it looks like about 70 meters that Charlie would have had to dive. You know, which is I did some math, and let's see, 70 meters I think is in terms of pressure is like 7 times the normal atmospheric pressure, you know, on land. So it would have been very not fun, I think, for Charlie to have to swim that far down. But I did a little more research in free diving, and he got close to like the world record of free diving depth with just weights and you know, no scuba gear.
Mhm.
So he did pretty well for himself. Got close to the world record.
Wow. Well, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Good for Charlie. Oh, should I mention it now? I don't even know. Why not? I want to bring up something from season 1, White Rabbit, episode 5. May all remember, what's her name? Joanna drowning. And Boone tries to save her, and then Jack goes out and saves Boone, but can't save her. And that becomes, you know, his big problem in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And right when that whole thing starts, like Charlie's standing right there, and he goes, "She's drowning. I don't swim." You know? And obviously, that's not true according to this episode. He seemed to not do too bad swimming around. So I think, to me, it's a continuity error. If you want, you can do some kind of explanation as to, oh, he was being selfish or whatever you want to say. But I think that's just damage control. I think they wanted this plot more than they wanted to stay in line with one little line from season 1.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, there was a whole thing too. You know, he was going to drown trying to save Claire, presumably.
Yeah.
You know, in that recent episode, Para Beyond. So they made an effort to say that he really can't swim. I don't know. I mean, we saw in the back his backstory that he, you know, was hesitant to get into the water, and then when he did, he seemed to like it. And then he had that line that he was a junior swim champion, which I think was completely, you know, made up.
Yeah, I think he was lying there.
I don't think he is a really good swimmer. I think he really got lucky. I think there's more evidence to say that he's just not a good swimmer.
Yeah. I don't think he's a great
lucky.
swimmer, but the idea that he, you know, doesn't swim at all, I mean, you know, that's
Yeah, I don't think he does swim at all. I mean, we saw in the backstory that he swam that one time, but besides that, I mean...
And he even refers to it on his greatest hits as being taught how to swim. I mean, you know, I think he knows how to swim. According to this episode, I think he does know how to swim. He may not be great, but, you know, he's, you know, got an average level of competence.
Yeah.
So So I think that's a little bit of a glitch, but you're talking about one line, from season 1 versus this whole plot, and I think that wins. So,
You're talking about what?
One line from season 1 versus this whole plot, this underwater
like
station.
I said, Harvey on when he was going to drown trying to save her, too, I think. I think there's more evidence that he can't swim than that he can.
Yeah. But that was, in that case, he was at least going in. But that thing, I don't know what to do with that stuff. But he he did a good enough job to me to make that line not make sense. Anyway, back to the schematic. There's a symbol, a standard Dharma symbol for the looking glass, and it is a little white bunny. Some sort of, in the middle of the standard Dharma thing. All the stations have that kind of pattern. The Dharma symbol with a thing in the middle to indicate the station, and the looking glass has a rabbit thing, and a white rabbit, of course. This is the Alice in Wonderland kind of illusion thing, and so I thought that was interesting to note.
White rabbit with a little clock on its neck.
Oh, it's got a clock.
Well, it's got a black circle and with a sort of line, a two-part line segment thing or something, which to me looks like a clock that's at about 3:40, 3:35, something like that. Or I guess maybe 8:15. I don't know which is the minute hand or which is the hour hand. But I think, on the looking glass, like you said, Alice in Wonderland, having to do with, a different dimension, a different reality or whatever. And again, they make these time travel references and little things in the show. So maybe the station has something to do with that. It's really, I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what this station's all about. The whole thing with it blocking the signal I thought was weird. I think it would have made more sense if the flame was blocking the signal, but of course that's blown up.
Too late.
Since the flame was all about communication. The other thing I want to mention about the schematic is that it shows that the cable that we've seen so many times is actually an anchor, presumably an anchor to the island, which I thought, which to me is sort of strange because, for a station that big and, from the schematic, it's got supports that look like they're, drilled into the bottom of the floor there. Why does it really need an anchor? It's not like a floating station. Plus that anchor seems really thin and small, that little cable. But
if it comes unhinged, you don't think that's going to hold it?
Well, I don't. That, and I don't think it needs anything to hold it because it's on these supports. So that's, I don't know. It's sort of weird that they say that's an anchor. Because I think a lot of people thought, and I did too, that it was some sort of power or communication or something like that, a cable for power communication. Yeah. Apparently, it's just an anchor.
Well, that leaves open the question of how they're getting power down there.
Yeah.
Which is curious. Being underwater, I mean, it seems like it would have to be coming through something like that.
Maybe they have some sort of hydro turbine system down there. The current, the underwater currents power some sort of generator. That's what come up with.
Or maybe another geothermal generator.
Yeah, Perry just said that. Yeah.
Their go-to explanation.
Well, from the schematic, it really shouldn't have any geothermal anything, but maybe those supports are actually some sort of pipeline system that go really deep down or something. Summer was really doing some crazy stuff back then, building these stations.
Yeah. So I think I guess they like to do this. The last the season 2 finale was called "Live Together, Die Alone," and that came from Jack's big speech, which I think was also from White Rabbit. I think, and then this season's finale is called "Through the Looking Glass," which the Looking Glass Station, which has a logo that's a white rabbit, and it's all this Alice in Wonderland thing. I don't even know why that episode was called White Rabbit. Oh, no, I don't remember.
Didn't Locke make a comment about White Rabbit? Didn't somebody make a comment about that?
Oh, I guess.
Like,
it's been too long.
Let's see what's down the rabbit hole. Or that's from the Matrix.
That is from the Matrix.
That's from the Matrix. Oops.
Yeah, they totally did that in the Matrix. They used the same kind of illusions. With them taking the pills, being like going through the looking glass, and following the White Rabbit and all that nonsense. We all remember that great film. That's weird. Makes it seem like they stole that.
Yeah, well, it's public domain.
Yeah, it was a comic book originally, so maybe it was in there, and they stole it from them, and then so it's like third hand. Anyway, what was my point supposed to be? So anyway, this finale is now referring to that episode too. They have a tradition, sort of one season tradition of hearkening back to an early episode. So.
I just happened to look up the White Rabbit thing because I was curious too. It's a scene with Jack and Locke, and Jack says, what is he talking about? Let's see. He takes the Marshall's badge that Sawyer flips to her, and then a shot of Jack and Locke. Jack and Locke are talking, and then Jack says, I'm chasing someone. Locke says, the White Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland. Jack says, yeah, Wonderland, because who I'm chasing, he's not there. Locke says, but you see him. Yes, but he's not there. And if I came to you and said the same thing, then what would your explanation be? As a doctor, I'd call it a hallucination, blah, blah, blah. So they talk about the rabbit thing there.
I see.
So I guess that's when he's seeing his dad, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That was the whole thing in that episode. He was chasing his dad around, and I think with Ben in the last episode, seeing his mom, kind of recalled that whole business as well. Obviously, other people have seen other people who are dead and maybe not dead at various times. I guess they're usually dead. Anyway, I can't think of one instance when they weren't dead, but maybe there is one. Anyway. Wow, I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, so the schematic, one more thing about it. I don't want to obsess about it because I really know, when they have a quick shot of something like that, and the fact that it says Hatch on there, I almost want to just ignore it completely. But,
the schematic?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like it just doesn't really matter that much what's on there. I don't want to even trust it that much. But there's also this little equation. It doesn't really make any sense to just throw an equation in the middle of this thing.
Yeah.
Something involving cosine. It looks all very technical. But they have the same thing on the Blastor map. Just some random equations thrown in at the side.
They have H something of T equals this thing, which equals something else.
Yeah.
It's really weird. H of something T equals A cos of 2, what is that? 2xt over T plus Z, which is the same apparently as A cos 360T over T plus Z. Yeah, it just doesn't. When you put that second equal, it just really means that you don't know what you're doing.
I mean, it could be that they're defining the function with the first one and then saying it's equal to the second. It's possible to have two equal signs and say something meaningful, but The fact that they're using 360, I mean, no one, in the real world when they're using those functions uses degree. Everybody uses radians, so that's bad form right there. I think the Blastor map had like radians on it. Whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to bring up the little equation because it's just, it's a little bit of silliness. Let's throw something in to make it look technical.
Yeah, it's got more equations at the top that
I saw
look
that
even
too.
crazier. The weird thing about the schematic to me is how it if it wasn't for the official logo at the top and like the font, like the name at the top, it looks like someone just really drawing a sketch of the place.
Yeah,
like,
it does
not
look
quite
hand-drawn.
sure. Not quite sure what we know what it's kind of like. It seems like maybe this was a preliminary blueprint, but then it actually got built differently. It's weird. It doesn't seem like the final official version.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
But if it was created in the 70s, I mean, maybe that was the way to make these things.
No, I mean, you would hand draw them. I mean, but I mean, people. I know architects who still hand draw their diagrams and schematics. They don't use computers even today, but they use protractors and rulers and everything to make it like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't just like hand draw it in like that. Not like a final blueprint.
I see.
So I don't know. I don't know if we're supposed to think of that, or maybe this. Someone mentioned. I read somewhere that the station looks decidedly different than the schematic makes it look. I really couldn't discern that myself, but I don't know. Maybe this is just an early design and they built it differently.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to believe it's real. And I mean the shot of it isn't that long. I think I think it's supposed to be a real thing, and however it lines up with what they actually shoot inside the thing, it might not work, but I don't think it's supposed to be like a focal point.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the thing, anything they give us is up for scrutiny.
Yeah, oh sure, of course.
Especially when they, show it. What else about the looking glass?
But I mean, sometimes, there have been some examples of close-ups of props with errors on them. And I mean, this one has that hatch thing. So, just because they show it doesn't mean it's all correct or there isn't something wrong with it,
Oh, sure.
So that's why I'm hesitant to put too much emphasis on what's there. It's worth talking about, of course, but I don't expect them to 100% adhere to everything on there. Yeah. So, all right. So anyway, that's the schematic.
All right. This whole thing with stripping the plane for wire again. Like, didn't they do that before? Didn't they need wire for something a while ago? Like back in season 2, and they stripped the plane for wire.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I don't
remember what they were doing. Maybe when they were making the infamous booby trap with the cans, maybe they needed wire for that or something.
Oh, well, that was season 1.
Was that season 1? Yeah,
that was
decent.
decent.
A while ago.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. I don't know what they made those with. I don't know where they got all those cans.
Oh, from the can store, of course. Anyway, I just thought that was weird. I mean, how much, and I think Greg Nations or somebody said something that, they can get pretty much whatever they want.
Yeah.
On the island because they don't really care about making that realistic.
They have a little magic box kind of thing where blue tarps and shovels and whatever sorts of things they need come out. There was one shot in this episode of like a bunch of tents with blue tarps, and I was just like, God damn, that's a lot of blue tarps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, who would carry around this many blue tarps?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I agree. Yeah, I think they're beyond really worrying about realism. I don't think they want to go too far. You know, they don't want him to like pull out. You know, oh, here's my rocket pack. I'll go back home. You know, they're not going to pull out anything like crazy. But you know, if it's something like if it's a sort of reasonable object and they need them to have it, then they will.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's they're beyond worrying about that. And at this point, I mean, it barely even feels like they're out there trying to survive anymore. You know, it just seems like they just live outside. You know, and but life seems pretty easy these days.
Yeah, definitely. They just got to worry about people trying to kill them, but
yeah, well,
their basic needs are met. Yeah.
Besides all that, if they didn't have all this plot going on, you know, it seems like life would be easy. They just hang back. They got all the food. You know, just wait around.
So let's talk about Desmond's Flash again. The whole thing with I don't think we finished talking about that. The whole thing with Charlie, I saw you die in my Flash, and if you don't die, then there won't be any rescue for anyone. You have to die this time. That whole thing was one of the things I didn't like about this episode, how the writers, they have these characters say these things with such, absolute certainty, in the face of the fact that we, what episode was that?
Catch-22?
Catch-22, when we learned that, things can happen differently and it doesn't really affect his visions.
Mm-hmm.
We went through the exact same thing with something good happening but Charlie dying in the vision. And, why is it that he says, this time you have to die? And I really just think the audience hears that and they go, oh, no, he's going to die this time.
Yeah.
They're just like playing with us when really, he's not going to have to die.
It's really trumped up drama, I think. I think they did the same thing with the original Revelation, Flashes Before Your Eyes. At the end, Desmond says, I can try or whatever, but you're going to die, Charlie.
Yeah.
And then, next thing we hear, he's saving him again and again and again,
I hated all that because our primer with the Flashes was Miss Hawking saying you can't change the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can try, but you can't. That was the first thing he learned, but he never seemed to understand that.
Yeah.
He always tries to change it, and he never seems to understand that, which is just really strange to me.
And if he hadn't saved Charlie, then Charlie wouldn't be around now to play whatever part he's going to play in this plot.
Yeah.
So if he plays a vital part, it will look like he really shouldn't have let him die.
Yeah.
And that he really did have an effect. The universe let him change something. And that's, that just makes all that seem like bullshit.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not to say that someone else couldn't have swam down there, I guess, but it's really strange.
Yeah, no, it could have still worked out, but the thing is, if he does something significant, then, I don't know. It makes it seem like it wasn't such a bad idea to save him.
Yeah.
So, which, so far, like I would have done. At this point, I don't know. But, a lot of the stuff he had to do so far wasn't that bad. Relatively. The situation he's in now, I don't know. It's a little more dangerous. But, I don't know what to think. With Desmond, that's the thing. I think they want to tell you this is going to happen and give you the drama of that, but they're not really willing to let it play out that way.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, they want to surprise you and something else happens, which removes all the punch from the prediction.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch it again, like when I watch it in this episode, I'm like, oh, come on, he's going to be fine. He still might die, of course, but it was an anticlimax, sort of.
Yeah, it was weird, In
terms of the prediction. I did like the surprise, though, so,
Yeah, when Charlie, surfaces and says, "Oh, I'm alive," it's like, well, you were gonna die after you hit the switch, buddy, not before you hit the switch. So you really shouldn't be that excited yet.
He forgot. He was oxygen deprived.
Yeah. I mean, he got, he kind of got scared because he didn't know if he was gonna make it to the moon pool, but which I got to say, by the way, is like really bad. To have a back door like that anyone can just swim down to.
Yeah,
that's bad for a secret station to have this like open thing that anyone can just swim to, and
What should it do? Just like close up?
Have some sort of cover at the top where I think there was wasn't there an Alien movie like that where they have to swim they have to like swim from point A to point B. But then, like, there was, like, a cover at the top when they got there or something, and they had to, like, work their way around it or something.
By Alien movie, do you mean the Alien series, like Sigourney Weaver, Alien?
Yeah.
Or do you mean, okay.
Specifically Alien, Sigourney Weaver, Alien.
Not just a movie with aliens.
Yeah. No, that movie with those aliens.
Yeah.
The original aliens.
Right.
There were no aliens before those.
No.
That's where we get the name from.
Where did they get it from? Don't ask.
Yeah.
Genius, I say, genius.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about Charlie and this whole swimming, and he claims he can hold his breath for 4 minutes. I know it's a TV show, obviously, because I watch it on TV. But
what?
I just hate when something little like. Charlie says, "Oh, I was a junior swim champ. I could hold my breath for 4 minutes." And I'm thinking if I was in that scene, I'd be like, "Well, that was a long time ago, Charlie, and you don't, I don't remember you practicing holding your breath, every day since you've been on this island. You got to get yourself back up to something like that. So even if you could hold your breath for 4 minutes at one point, you won't be able to do that now because you haven't been, keeping up, And then I'm thinking, they have that little part where they kind of cut to Juliet after he says that, and she doesn't really react or anything, but she's like in the next shot they cut to. And I'm thinking, Juliet should know if he's lying or not. I mean, she should have, in his file, it should say,
oh, you're right.
If he was junior swim champ at any point, what his background is. It should say he's scared of swimming or doesn't swim or whatever it is, with this thing about swimming. So
not only does it say it in the file, but she's memorized it word for word.
Yeah, so, she would know.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I bet that's going to happen a lot if she sticks around long enough. Where she should call somebody on something or know everything about everybody, and she only knows it when they need it.
Exactly.
Oh, you gotta love TV. It plays by its own rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point. I didn't even think of Juliet knowing shit. I just forgot. I did what they wanted me to do.
You just played right along into their web of deception.
And I didn't even remember the whole thing with Charlie having trouble swimming. Like, I was just like, oh, wow, look, a skill that's useful.
Yeah.
Who knew? Because I guess like, I would take it. Sorry, what did you say?
I said, who knew coming from Charlie, something useful.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Big shock. Not much useful so far. I was like, if he said that to me, I would be thinking, he's still relatively young. Not even relatively, he is still young, and
he's relatively young.
And I would be thinking, yeah, you can't necessarily hold your breath for 4 minutes anymore, but you might be, better equipped. Obviously the skills have faded, but presumably like something's still there to give you an edge, for doing it. You don't have to do it for 4 minutes, but maybe you can do it for half that or something,
Yeah.
That would be what I was thinking. Like, not expecting him to repeat that, but like it's an indication of a skill he might, still retain enough of for it to be useful.
Well, and that's my thing. I'm really picky when it comes to writing and little things like that. I would have rather him said like, I I could hold my breath for 4 minutes, or some sort of way of saying at one point that was my record. Which is really the point he's trying to get across, is that he has that ability, but not to specifically say he can do it now, which is, I think, a lie. And not only is it a lie, even if it was true, it would be a lie, because I don't think he ever was a junior swim champ. So.
Even if it's true, it would be a lie.
It's a double lie.
Right. Because he is actually lying, but but even if he weren't lying, he would still be lying.
Exactly. 2 levels of lying.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Yeah, it's a fair point. I think people might speak like that sometimes. I don't think. Yeah, one word's bad, but I can forgive that personally.
That's the thing. People might speak like that at sometimes, but that's the thing about writing is
you can control it.
You can control it, and you're making a choice to do that. It's not like, oops, I just said that because I'm speaking normally. It's like, no, a group of people decided he should say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Fair point. One to you.
What else? What else is on your list?
What else is on my list? All kinds of shit.
Okay.
So
pick the third thing.
So, okay, fine. I have to set the stage again, so forgive me.
Oh, God. Set the stage.
It might seem like I say way too much, and then it comes down to a simple thing, but, yeah, bear with me. So the stage here is, the episode starts out with Carl, basically a little, starting with somebody running and, oh, shit, doing something.
Yeah.
They've done that a few times. I can remember doing that. They did that after Colleen was shot. I guess that'd be episode 3. Or no, it wasn't episode 3. It was 4 because 3 was further instructions, and they didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Go over there. It was 4. It was Every Man for Himself.
Get it right, man. Get it right.
They started with him running through the. It took me a second. I was trying to be logical, and anyway. They started with him running, and then there was expose, which started with Nikki running, and there's probably more examples if I thought hard enough. But anyway, it's something they like to do. So I don't know.
I thought expose started with. Oh yeah. The. Oh, that thing. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Oh, you're talking. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine.
You're setting I forgot you're setting the stage.
I'm setting the stage.
I thought you were done, but no, you're still setting the
stage. Oh
man,
that was too long of a tangent on that one thing. But anyway, so later we find out that that's Carl. You might have recognized him in the beginning. I didn't.
I knew it was Carl when he went to the little what do they call it? Highlander.
Forget. Yeah, I don't remember.
They gave it a name. It had a little fun name for it.
They did. The Guten.
Flux.
The Skivvy.
It was like a something lander.
Oh.
Some sort of lander. Some sort of.
Lander. That's kind of
yeah.
weird.
Or like.
The boat lander.
Range lander. Which sounds really stupid. I should look this up.
Outrigger.
There we go.
That's it. Not lander.
Yeah, that's close.
Are you thinking Outlander or Outlandish or something? I don't know.
I was thinking of Range Rover / Outrigger. They just put 2 words together.
Outrigger.
We rigged it together to go out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an outrigger.
Therefore, yeah, hey, that's the miracle of English.
It's like, hey, get the outrigger. What'd you call me? Outrigger. Okay, watch it, buddy. Watch it.
I got my eyes.
Got my eye on you, buddy.
2 of them.
Yeah, so I knew it was Carl because who else would have access to that? And it looked like him, so.
It did when I saw it later, but first time I had no idea. I was like, who the fuck is that? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then I forgot, and then when they got back to it, I remembered.
You just buy into all their little tricks.
I do. I'm just a little gullible genie.
Wow.
I just if they were trying to manipulate me, I'm gonna fall for it.
Yeah.
It's just a weakness. Every now and then I see through it, but mostly I fall for them.
Nice.
I mean, I don't make an effort to outthink them usually, so that's part of it. Maybe if I sat there and thought, what could this be, I would have come to an obvious conclusion. You know, who else could that really be?
Yeah.
It should have been obvious, but I was just, you know, being swept away by the drama. So anyway,
you still haven't made your point yet, right?
Oh, I'm getting there. Here it comes. So Carl shows up and on the Lofty side, and then he runs out, and then Saeed tackles him, and
Saeed,
and that was the shot they used in the promo the next week on Lost thing that I did watch, and they really made it look like the other's attack was going to happen in this episode by like cutting a few things together, and they used that shot in particular and like something else to sort of make it look like an attack was going to happen. And I remember thinking, like, it can't happen in this episode. Like, no way they're going to have it this episode, and then the finale is like other shit. Like, I just didn't see that happening. So anyway, wow, my setting the stage has like a lot of tangents.
Yeah, I think we're losing people here on the podcast. They're dropping like flies.
Are they? Oh God. Luckily, I'm not looking, or I might feel bad. So anyway, so Carl shows up and he says that and this is like one of the revelations of the episode. You know, they're all ready to think that they're coming the next day, and you know, he comes to inform them that they're coming right now.
Mm-hmm. No. They're coming tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming right now. I love that. It got worse.
It did.
First, hey guys, they're coming. Oh, that's bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. They're coming tonight. Ooh, that's worse news. No, they're coming right now.
Oh.
That's the worst news possible.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I guess when he said that, I took that he meant like different things. Like, when he said they're coming tonight, I thought he meant, like, they're going to get here tonight. But when he said they're coming right now, it was like they're heading over here now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know? But he's using the same words. So
yeah, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they are coming tonight, but, like, they're coming right now, which is, you know, if they are coming tonight, they should be coming right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got to walk. So
right,
whatever.
Exactly. Or run or teleport or whatever they do.
I didn't really like part of this scene, you know, when, like, you know, my personal philosophy is when someone's running towards you unarmed or apparently unarmed, you know, you don't really need to run at them full speed and tackle them as if you're really doing something. I thought that was, you know, I would expect Jack to do that or Charlie. Maybe Sawyer, but he obviously knew who Carl was.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect Saeed to do that, but he did, and I was a little ashamed.
Oh no!
But
Saeed let you down.
Saeed let me down. He doesn't often let me down, but he did let me down. I'm like, Saeed, come on, you don't have to tackle the guy who's like running towards you. You know, if he was running away or something, yeah, okay, go get him. But anyway, this whole idea that 10 or 11, I mean, you know, Ryan said if he took 10 of his best men, blah, 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 which would mean there's 11 coming, but I believe they said there's 10 people coming, and I think that's just a weird thing with the writers, how they write that thing. So I guess there's supposed to be 10 people coming.
Yeah.
But
I think it's kind of like he said we're next.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You want to stop and work it out, but they both said 10.
Yeah, I don't know how, that's the thing. They remembered Ryan saying 10, but they didn't remember that he should include himself.
Yeah.
10 or 11 people, how are they going to really kidnap potentially all the women while trying to fend off an attack by all the men and the women? I mean, that's huge. 10 versus 40 is a lot.
Hey, it's the others.
You know, how
They're
they
good like
really they're
that.
going to do that and not expect any casualties is beyond me.
And as remember from what Ben said to Locke, you know, oh, we've done this before. There won't be no one's going to be hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just going to grab the women and kill the men, and no one will be hurt.
No one will be hurt. Yeah.
So anyway, yes, I agree.
Wait, did you make your point already?
No.
Oh, shoot.
The stage is still being set, but it's almost done, I promise.
The stage is still being set. What is this, like Carnegie Hall? What stage are you setting here? Is this stage on Broadway somewhere? Yikes.
Yes, it does seem as though this is a big stage.
The grand old stage she is.
Yeah, so anyway, and it was worth talking about that stuff anyway. So my stage setting had almost a purpose. So
okay, well.
So anyway, all that is to get to the fact that this Carl saying they're coming right now leads to this sort of structure changing others flashback, 6 hours ago. Mm-hmm. And I think personally, the reason they did that is to make it clear that he's not lying. That this is the truth. They really are coming right now, and to let us know sort of what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they need to tell us where Carl has been this whole time, and we find out that he's been sort of hiding out near their, sort of near where Alex is. I guess he's just sort of following them as they move from camp to camp, something like that.
If he just showed up with nothing, with no flashback, then we'd have to wonder, where have you been? What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
But
that's the other thing, too. We really don't need, for them to tell us he's not lying in this episode, because we know from last episode that they are coming.
Yeah.
That they know, or whatever. The others know that the Losties know that they're coming. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what's the rest of your point?
So anyway, I want to talk about the flashback a little bit.
Okay.
We see Ben come back from his adventure in the previous episode, and Alex is just doing something to a rabbit.
She's skinning it. What do you mean doing something?
Okay, is that what that is? It didn't look very, I don't know. It was a very messy operation. Anyway, okay, so she's skinning a rabbit that I'm sure she caught herself.
I actually want to talk about the rabbits. I got a quick little thing to bring up about the rabbits.
All right.
Oh, now?
Hey, why not?
Well, I was just wondering, are they breeding these rabbits for food? I mean, when we first saw the rabbits, I thought that they were left over from whatever experiments Dharma was doing. But now it seems like maybe the rabbits are sort of indigenous, or there's a group of rabbits, free to roam and breed on the island, and they just catch them when they need to eat. I couldn't really tell. This is like the third time we've seen a white rabbit.
Yeah.
At least. So, what do you think? Do you think that the rabbits are just sort of quote unquote naturally occurring on the island at this point, or do they have the rabbits somewhere that they can just go and get them when they need them?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. It seems like this rabbit, I guess I imagine that this rabbit was caught in the wild, but the rabbit with the number, with the 8 on its back, the shake the cage rabbit, was
hippity hop.
Yeah. was captured, was theirs, not, they didn't go catch it, they already had it. And then Ben's rabbit, the little Ben's rabbit in the flashback, I don't know what to think about that. Where he got it.
Yeah, I felt like he took it from. I felt like Dharma was using these rabbits the whole time, and he just took it from where they had the rabbits for their experiments.
Mhm.
You know, that's what it seemed like to me, because unless we're supposed to, the rabbit couldn't get through the fence, if they're around on the island,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it probably did come from Dharma then. But he just had a rabbit. There was sort of no. And I guess that happened in all three cases. A rabbit just shows up, and and sometimes there's a rabbit, and you just have to figure out where they came from. I guess I don't really know. I once again, I'm left with ambivalent feelings about where the rabbits are coming from. But I guess I'll go with they were Dharmas originally, and maybe something like the polar bears is going on. Some of them just got out and formed a little rabbit community, and so there are some wild ones, and maybe the one in this episode is one of the wild ones. So yeah, I guess that's what I'll go with.
Okay.
What about you? If I gotta pick a stand.
I could go either way, Also, I sort of think that they have a stash of rabbits somewhere. Maybe they brought, maybe they keep the rabbits at Lowdown, and they brought some with them on their trek, to eat or something. Maybe they were already dead when they brought them. I don't know, but.
That's sad. Even though they're evil rabbits with red eyes.
Red eyes, you gotta kill them.
And I guess she was supposed to bring it to Carl. So, whatever.
Which is weird. You think it would have been better just for her to sort of give him the rabbit and have him do all the work, because if everyone sees her skinning and cleaning this rabbit, then she doesn't eat it. She leaves with it. That'd be a little suspect.
You think?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And, she gives him the rabbit, and she comes back and, makes herself something to eat, and, hey, did you just eat a rabbit?
Like a whole rabbit?
I'm hungry. I don't know.
Yeah, good point. So, what I wanted to say about this scene, the whole reason I set this
20 minutes later.
Actually, there's a couple things I want to say about the scene. The first thing is, Ben walks in, and, he's just shot Locke, and Alex asks about him, and blah, blah, blah. And Ben gives Alex her gun back, making it clear that was that gun that he used to shoot Locke. I was a little question about that, where he got the gun. And it still leaves open the question of how he got that gun from Locke. But apparently that was what he used.
Yeah.
And it also leaves open the question of what Alex was doing giving him a gun. Exactly what her motivations were.
Wait, it did? What did it say about that? I missed.
Well, I just don't know exactly what she had in mind for him to do with it. Maybe it was just a general precautionary thing, but it's not clear to me what she thought.
Oh, you said it's not clear. I thought you said this scene made it clear.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? It did?
Okay. Yeah. No, not at all. The only thing it made clear is that that's what Ben used to shoot Locke.
Yeah.
But all the other questions are still up there for grabs.
I would have to say that the biggest reason Alex gave Locke the gun was that so Ben could shoot him with it.
Oh, that's a weird reason. That's obviously, I guess what I mean is that's not her reason. Are you saying that she doesn't really have a reason? And in terms of,
I think that's the main reason it happened. I think her reason is sort of lower on the totem pole. I think it's just she doesn't really like her dad at this point. She doesn't really like Ben, and I think it also goes to say that there's people who, want for Locke to be successful and, to not get hurt. So I think there's a lot of things going on with that small gesture, but I think the biggest thing is just so that we can have Locke have a gun, which Ben could take and shoot him with.
Yeah. You know, I'm starting to wonder. Tell me if this makes sense.
Oh, don't do that. That's when things go wrong.
Do you think it's possible that the original others, the only one I know of so far is Richard, and whomever else, you know, was there before Dharma. Do you think it's possible that they are sort of essentially
they're the rabbits, right? I know you're going with this, and yes, I agree. They are the rabbits.
Wow, that's a good one. Unfortunately, that's not my theory.
Oh no!
And now I feel like I need to abandon it. Do you think it's possible that the original others are, how should I put this, essentially benign, and they're sort of, all the evil stuff the others are doing is coming from Ben more so than them, and they're kind of going along with it for unclear reasons, maybe because of the Jacob thing or something else, but maybe like the original others aren't sort of the kind of evil, conniving people that Ben appears to be?
I think that is very possible. I think that I like to call the original others the hostiles.
The hostiles, sure.
Hostiles is sort of a pre-purge term. I would that I like to use.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
that's good.
Yeah, so the hostiles, I think, were essentially benign. I think it's interesting to think whose idea was it to do the purge. You know, Ben gives that whole sort of little soliloquy to Locke about, the two sides and not being able to share, and one side had to go, and which was the justification for not only him shooting Locke in that scene, but for the purge in general. And so I think you could easily argue that was the justification he gave to the hostiles. It wasn't their idea to wipe out Dharma. They didn't really sort of know what to do about the situation, and Ben came to them and said, "Hey, I got an idea," and made it very, sort of a naturalistic approach to it. Two sides. This town ain't big enough for both of us, kind of thing. One side had to go. So I think you can definitely make that argument that he was the reason for the big incident with the purge, and that maybe all the other things that we've seen him do is really, he's engendered that. I think that's definitely possible. Why they're going, but I still think that a lot of the things that they've done and that they've witnessed Ben do, I still think that they're still morally culpable to a certain degree.
Sure.
Which is to say, could they really have been that benign if in recent history they're going along with these really, really bad things?
Yeah, I mean, it puts them on sort of a plane with, like, just sort of like standing by and not stopping something. Not like it wasn't their idea, but they sort of like let it happen.
Yeah, but more than that, they don't seem to think that it's really bad. Not only are they just sitting by and not doing anything, but they don't seem to even be protesting the whole thing either.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, how good are you if you're not really protesting the bad stuff?
Yeah.
So
True.
I think, it's obviously up in the air about what's really going on. But I would like to think that they are more or less a benign sort of people, content to do whatever they were doing.
Yeah, I guess I'm imagining, the ideas are coming from Ben, but obviously I was trying to figure out how they could pull off like sympathy for the others at this point. I think Ben is way beyond that. I don't think he's going to convince anybody at this point that what he's doing is good.
Maybe it's kind of like maybe it's like the Nazi Hitler thing,
Yeah.
Like, so much of the bad press, if you will.
The what?
Bad press.
Bad press.
For the Holocaust and all that whole Nazi regime, can be squarely placed on Hitler's shoulders, and the rest of the German people who are involved. Well, you guys are just doing whatever. But So maybe it's like that where, you know, you guys aren't great for doing that, but we'll really blame Hitler for this, and in this situation we'll really place, you know, the blame on Ben, so that if Ben dies or Ben is out of power, out of the picture, then it's like, you know, he can take all that sort of bad press with him, and
we don't have to hate
bad
press. Makes it
bad
seem
press,
like
is that an understatement?
A little bit.
You don't think the Holocaust was just bad press?
No. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. It makes it seem like oh, you know, those reporters, they just love bad news. They'll just say anything to wow. Yeah, so maybe we don't have, you know, maybe a plan to make it to have us not hate some of the others, at least.
Yeah.
In the end.
But I could never hate Richard.
Yeah, I mean, me either.
He's awesome.
He is, but he is, you know, standing by and letting this stuff happen. So, you know, in terms of like actual moral responsibility, yeah, he's got some there. But you know, characters can be evil and you can still like them. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. That was just a thought, and that's not even what I wanted to say.
Are you still setting the stage? No, you're not setting the stage.
The stage is set. We're done.
Okay.
What I wanted to do was
set. Now we'll get the orchestra in their seats. The actors are behind the stage, getting their costumes ready, makeup, wardrobe. The audience is getting their tickets at the door. The ushers are standing by, and now we're just ready for the show to start.
Unfortunately, the show is not going to seem like much after that stage setting.
The lighting operator is ready to go. He's got all his lighting cues. The conductor is ready with the orchestra. We're ready for the show.
Wow. When you put it that way, it seems like I should have something pretty monumental to say.
Yeah. The audience is now filling in their seats. A hush goes over the crowd, and the lights come down, the curtain comes up, and go.
You're on. It's time to make the magic happen. You know, my whole point was really just to set up this other flashback. And I wanted to just explain the background, and I wanted to talk about Carl a little bit, and I don't know. I hope we got something out of the stage setting. Anyway, so what I wanted to say about this flashback, I already said one of the things. One of the things was the gun thing. Another thing was about what Carl's been doing. So we've already gotten to those two things. So the play is like 2/3 over already. So sorry. The third thing I want to say is that this episode makes it seem to me like Ben has just lost it. Like he's just out of control. Like, you know, he's not the cold calculating genius in this episode anymore.
Things are spiraling out of control, even out of his grasp. He's not sure how to. I think he's past his comfort zone into being able to predict what they're going to do and make everybody fall into his plan. So I think at this point he's just like, enough of the you know, playing nice.
Yeah.
His version of playing nice.
Right.
And,
the elaborate schemes and the patient waiting and all this nonsense. Yeah, he's just like, we don't know who to take. Take them all.
Do you think that maybe this whole fertility thing, like there's more to that it's not as simple as he wants them to have kids? Like there's some reason, like it seems like that's the end goal, but really the end goal is something much more interesting than that.
Hope so.
You know, like he's telling everybody and Juliet, you know, that it's, you know, we need to fix this fertility problem, but that's just a means to an end. That really there's something else that's going to let him do that's really important.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it is curious why he cares so much. I mean, there's obvious reasons why he might care so much, but it's never really been stated what his real motivation is.
What if he wants to have a kid specifically? what if he knows, like, he's kind of special, you know, he has this relationship with Jacob, and, like, he knows that if he had a kid, it would be, like, more powerful, or maybe even, like, what Walt is or was or whatever.
Oh, boy.
You know, that kind of thing. You know, you can go back to the prophecy idea.
Oh, no.
Know, some special kid, and he thinks it's his kid. And
I thought that was dead.
He's just, no, it's not dead. He's desperately trying to have a kid because he wants it to be special, you know.
Yeah. Could be. And that's a revelation they could spring on us. I think finale is the time to spring stuff on us. So maybe we will find out something about what he really wants out of all this fertility nonsense. I think it's possible, and I really do hope that it's just that there is something extra on top of, you know, I just want these women to have kids so we can have kids, you know. If that's it, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Enough about pregnancy.
Did you catch the line when Ben comes back to the camp in a little flashback, and Alfred says, "Did John?" And, you know, Ben kind of cuts him off. It kind of sounded to me like he said, "Did John see?" Presumably, did John see Jacob? You know, may have been what he said. You catch that?
I did. Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Interesting, huh? I wanted you to say interesting no, and I would say interesting yes, but you said huh, so I said huh. Anyway, yes. What does that mean? Did you want to say something about that? Or did you just want to know?
Well, just the idea that Alfred might know that Jacob's invisible.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah.
That somebody else might know that, and that, you know, I mean, he could have been saying, you know, did John see Jacob, meaning did you guys actually go there to see Jacob? Not necessarily was he able to visually see him.
Visit him, you know, not like yeah. But I think he might mean the invisible thing. I think it's possible. It's one of those things they do, cutting off those sentences and letting you try to guess what they might have been getting at. I think he might have meant that. I don't know though. I'm really curious. It's still from the last episode. We still don't know what the hostiles knew about Jacob. You know, what is Jacob? How did he get there? What happened? You know, all that stuff is just kind of not explained. So who knows what he knows about Jacob, and you know, why they think they should follow him, and that's the other thing. Ben says that Jacob gave the order for all this. I don't really believe that.
Oh, I think he just said that, yeah. Jacob wants it to happen tonight, yeah, right.
Does he really? Yeah. And it makes me think he might have been doing that, like, you know, he might have done that more times than this. You know, Jacob said this, and they're like,
you know, it puts into question, Shepard wasn't even on Jacob's list. You know, I don't really think Jacob wrote down a list, being invisible and all.
Oh, no?
Yeah, so, you know, I could see Ben coming from Jacob's house and with, you know, with a list saying, oh, these are the names that Jacob wants, but that's just the names that he wants, you know.
Well, then why wasn't Shepard on there?
Oh, maybe it was before he found out about, I don't know.
Before he found out.
Maybe before he thought he needed Jack's help. You know, maybe he thought it would go away or that he could fix it somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, why? It doesn't seem like Jacob's really could really be concerned with the Losties. He feels like he's got his own problems. Yeah, I would say so. I agree. That kind of being, it doesn't seem like he really should care that much about the Losties. So the idea that it's Ben's list is certainly plausible and possible. And other words like that that start with P and end with bowl.
But what?
Nothing.
Oh. But I guess I don't know what to think about Jacob. I mean, the whole thing's so vague. I don't know whether to believe that he. I mean, Ben has a place that he goes, and there is something there. So I can't imagine he. Is he really making everything up and just going out there and like what's going on? I mean, it's kind of confusing. Since he's not making Jacob up, I don't want to think. Everything having to do with Jacob he's making up. Like, then what's going on,
Well, it could be that, for the longest time he was, following Jacob's orders, but then, he started to disagree with him, and now, in the recent history, he's starting to make up his own plans, and that's, the idea that maybe Jacob is trapped, maybe he trapped him, and so he, and maybe that's why Ben got sick in the first place with the cancers, that he he stopped listening to Jacob, so Jacob, gave him cancer.
Gave him a little cancer?
And or at least didn't protect him from the cancer.
That too.
So that could be, the problem.
Yeah, that's true. So, like, at one point, he was genuinely following Jacob's orders, but he stopped. Yeah, that's a fair possibility, because it just doesn't seem like he should have never been. But or never, I mean, the whole situation's kind of strange, but yeah, sure, why not, So anyway, since obviously I don't know where to go with that, what I wanted to say is, we already said it. The third thing I wanted to point out is that Ben's just like out of control, just like, just take them all, and the men, just kill them all. Like,
yeah, I think it's just supposed to be fodder for the audience that kill them all, because like, oh no, everyone's up for grabs in this finale. Like, who knows who's gonna die? Yeah, no, I don't buy that. It does show that he's being crazy, but I think that's just a writing thing.
Oh yeah,
you gotta die this time, Charlie. There's no way around it. Oh well, maybe I can swim down there. I'll just negate what I said before. Like, okay, Des, okay.
Yeah, well, Desmond, much like his old partner Kelvin, doesn't really know what he thinks. He just changes with time and makes definitive statements that he says later, oh, whatever, maybe that wasn't true. He doesn't know what he's doing. So anyway, yeah, I just think, I agree. I don't think what Ben says is gonna turn out to be true, and they're just gonna shoot all the men and take them. That would be quite an episode. But yeah, the main thing I want to point out is what it says about his character. Just he's lost like his main attribute up to now. Being always controlled, never surprised about anything apparently, and seeming to sort of know what's going to happen, and meticulous planning and all this stuff. Just seems to have left him. So yeah, that was Act 3 of the play, and so that was what all that stage setting was for.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the little production here. That was a lot.
Yes,
like the Lion King. That was a lot. That was a big one.
Is that a big one?
That's a big one.
Okay.
So, a little thing, I was thinking about Naomi. She must feel really strange.
Naomi.
She might die in the middle of this war between two sides she's never even heard of, and she's just kind of trying to do her job here. Innocent bystander, if there ever was one.
Yeah.
And she could be killed or taken, as one of the, lost women. So very interesting.
Yeah, she has nothing to do with them. She's just there because of Desmond.
Desmond's always getting girls in trouble. That guy.
So
maybe Naomi's brother. Maybe if Naomi dies, her brother can come and punch him in the face.
Oh, and then leave.
And then leave.
Hey, you, oi!
Oi. Speaking of punching people and hey you, oi, let's talk about Nadia and her mugger.
Oh, boy.
I really don't think the mugger had it in him to take the purse.
The mugger's heart was not in it.
he was phoning it in, guys. He was phoning it in. He was like, I don't want this purse that much. Do I want it? Don't I want it?
He had a knife, but he wasn't really using it to threaten.
Yeah.
He was kind of holding it away from her.
Well, it looked like a knife in some shots, and in other shots it looked like something else. I mean, I'm presuming it was a knife, but he didn't try to use it on her. He didn't try to, use it on Charlie.
Yeah.
I really thought the mugger was Liam for a second when Charlie came up and said, hey, what are you doing? And I thought he recognized them, and I thought it was going to be Liam, trying to get, drug seeking or something.
Sure.
And then I thought, oh, maybe they're both down in their luck, and this is some trick, some sort of con that they do. Like one guy tries to steal the purse, another guy comes, and then the lady offers Charlie some money or something.
Yeah.
And I thought all kinds of stuff, but no, it was just that Charlie was a hero and that the mugger was not very dedicated.
Yeah, it just seemed like a bad performance of a mugging,
Yeah.
Like, what you really do, you want to threaten her, and then if she doesn't, hit her.
Yeah.
Not that I want to tell people how to mug people, but come on,
At least try to, stab at her hand so she would, let go. Because if someone's, stabbing at your hands, even if they don't stab you but they're gesturing towards your hands with a knife, you would flinch and let go of whatever you're holding.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was his first mugging.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. He was just playing tug of war with the purse.
Yeah.
He wasn't really,
He's like, okay, so I have a knife, and I got my knife checked.
Check.
I got my dark clothes checked. I got my mask checked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now when I walk
dark
up
alley
to the
location,
woman,
it's raining, great.
Yeah, great. I'll walk up to her and I'll grab the purse, and she'll just let it go because I'm a mugger.
Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
She's not gonna fight me for it.
Mm-mm.
At least they look like they've been fighting for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I love how she says 3 people walked by.
It was a long mugging.
How did you notice that 3 people? You're in the middle of life and death situation potentially. How did you notice 3 people walking by?
Because she knew it wasn't a big deal. She was just playing tug of war.
She is. She's like, this guy needs to go home. Yeah, I don't think she was really scared.
So another thing I want to point out about it. When Charlie hits him with the guitar case, he actually gets the purse. He has it in his hand.
Yeah, and then he drops it.
And then, so he could have just run away with it, but he's.
Yeah, that was bad.
What the fuck?
That was that's why I really thought it was Liam. I was like, what? I really thought it was somebody that Charlie knew, and it was, it was like, oh no, Charlie caught me doing this crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what we're supposed to think of that. Yeah, he gets the person, he just drops, throws it down, oh, I don't want this.
Yeah, what, this? Me? Nah.
I've been fighting for this the whole time? No. That's not what I want.
It was ridiculous. He could have easily had the purse, but now, he went through all that, and he's got no purse. Come on.
And Dominique Monaghan, come on. He's going to walk up to you and scare you off. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He could have easily. Come on. But it was a horrible mugging. And then to top it off, Nadia, clearly not shaken by the fact that the mugging wasn't that serious, is ready to make a nice little speech to Charlie.
Well, that's the thing. She's so composed that she can make this eloquent speech about heroism in the 21st century. What it really means to be a hero these days. She was so self-composed she could do that.
Yeah. You are a hero, sir. You are a great Englishman.
I love when he was like, what did he say? I've been in a fight since I was a kid and I lost. That makes you more of a hero. No, actually it doesn't. A hero is not someone who loses and then wins. That's not a hero.
That is a hero.
No.
Hey. That's what always happens, in those movies. They lose and then they win.
No.
So you're a hero.
No.
Yay.
No.
Yay?
No.
Okay. I'm trying. Yeah, I forgot about that line. And I thought he'd never take care of anyone. If this was before that whole thing, he should have thrown that in her face. Well, you know what? I saved the woman from a mugging. How about
that? Oh, greatest hits.
Indeed. So yeah. Anyway, and Nadia, like, what the fuck's she doing there? It's all very.
I remember something. I didn't take the time to go research it. When Saeed is first approached by the CIA / like Australian whatever security force, I don't know, Jedi Council, whatever. They said that she was. Did they say she was in L.A.? Is that what it was?
She was supposed to be somewhere in California, and Locke inspected her house.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably, where she is where he was, which could be in the L.A. area, or I guess he was supposed to be in Tustin. But he could have been. I mean, if he's an inspector, he's probably driving around a bit. So, she could be somewhere in the vicinity, if that.
Yeah. Did they ever say she was in the UK?
I don't think so, but maybe. I don't even remember.
I kind of thought they had set that up before, that she was at one point in the UK, maybe after, like right after she left, she got out of Iraq, she like went to the UK, and then she was supposed to have gone to California.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't do the research. I don't remember.
Maybe they did say that.
Maybe. Anyway, the fact that she's here, that they showed her again, I feel like they're, bringing her back up for a reason. So I wonder if she'll have some sort of part to play in this season finale here.
Yikes. Maybe. The other thing to note maybe about this about that flashback is it starts with him on the street playing the Oasis song. The inspiration for his band, clearly.
And it does rain, right after too.
So it seems to be a replay, not a replay, whatever. It seems to be that scene where Desmond came out and talked to him for a bit before it started raining, and he predicted it and all that. But, of course, Desmond doesn't show up. So I don't know if we're supposed to do anything with that. I assume maybe he went out there more than one day. Didn't have to be that same day. But it makes you wonder if we're supposed to believe that this is what really happened and that other thing was whatever it was. I don't know.
Maybe the idea is that if Desmond was there talking to Charlie, he would have never saved Nadia. Like he would have been standing there longer and not have gone to help her or something. Basically, Desmond came out to Charlie right after he had talked to Widmore, right?
Yeah.
And that's when did he ask to marry Penny in that scene? That's the scene when he finds out about the solo race, right? And I think he asked to marry Penny, and Widmore gives him the whole McCutcheon whiskey speech, like, you're not good enough to drink my whiskey, you're not good enough to marry my daughter.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. I don't know if we're supposed to think, like, something happened where Desmond didn't come out when he did, or if this was the original timeline, or I don't know.
It's strange. It's clearly an allusion to that scene.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be that Charlie, plays that song a lot on the street corner, and I would like to go back and see if he's wearing the same clothes. That would be a good tell to see if it's supposed to be the same scene or not.
Yeah. I think they could be different clothes, and they still meant it to be the same scene, though.
Yeah, but I think they would have, if they're trying to make it the same scene, they would have gone to the trouble of making sure it's the same clothes.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, obviously they could make a mistake, but I think if he's wearing the same clothes, then it's more likely they're trying to make it the same scene.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because, yeah, especially since, like, the odds of them just getting random clothes and it's not supposed to be the same scene, but they get the exact same outfit, you know, like, that wouldn't be true.
Yeah, if the clothes are the same, then that's an indication they probably want it to be the same scene. But if the clothes are different, you know, depending on how different, I don't think it's necessarily excludes the possibility that it is the same scene. Because when they've recreated events, they have been rather loose at times with various wardrobe and haircut elements and even like specific, you know, the exact way things play out and stuff. So I don't think that's definitive, but if he is wearing the same clothes, then that's a good clue that's I don't think it's a big deal, but it seemed interesting to me that they just threw that in.
Yeah. Do you think Nadia's going to have a part to play in this finale here?
I guess I don't. I don't see what she can really do.
Maybe she's at the helm of the Looking Glass.
Oh God. You know. I don't. Nah. I mean, really?
Maybe,
how would she get there? What happened?
Dude, what if I could totally see them doing this? I mean, how does she get there? Whatever. That's not even important. They could make up something, you know.
Okay.
It is a worthy question, but you know, it's like Saeed said. How the station works flooded, it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
How she got there doesn't matter. But I think I can definitely see a scene where, like, the women, you know, the blonde and the brunette are ready to kill Charlie, and then Nadia comes out and she's like, "Oh, it's the guy who saved me. You know, it's my hero." And she said, you know, she stopped Charlie. You know, she stops Charlie from dying because she recognizes him as being the hero.
Oh, shit.
You know?
And the karma comes back.
The karma comes back.
Hooray.
And I think if Nadia's on the island, some people said they think Saeed might die.
Yeah.
And I don't think Saeed's going to die until he gets closure with Nadia. Because there's, you know, they brought that up so many times. And again, see her. And I think if she's on the island now, you know, then I think it'll be a good point after this whole debacle with the Looking Glass and whatever's going to happen in this next episode. If she's still around, then she can, you know, get some closure. He can get some closure with her.
Yeah.
Maybe she dies eventually, but he needs to see her again.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That's his thing to deal with. So I agree. I hope Saeed doesn't die. They could throw a curveball at us and have him die, you know, without resolving his problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to surprise us. But yeah, I don't know.
I think now how, you know, why would Nadia be on the island? You know, I don't remember. Does she have any, like, special skills? On Lostpedia it says under professions it says lab assistant. I'm
really?
trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what her if she has any special skills that might translate to working at, you know, somewhere on the island. You know, being recruited like maybe Juliet was.
I didn't think she had a job.
You know, or maybe Saeed brought her to the island, like Locke brought Anthony Cooper to the island.
Oh, that, yeah. There is that. But then how does she get in charge of the Looking Glass?
I mean, maybe she's not in charge, but maybe she's there and they trust her or something.
Mhm.
You know.
Okay. But how would she even get there? Did she appear there? You know, like, you know, it's weird. Like, that's a weird place to be.
Yeah, well, it just depends on why they're there in the first place. I mean, are they, you know, as many people say, are they running away from the super sperm? You know, if it's just all women down there, you know, who knows why they're down there? Presumably to run the station. I mean, we should talk about that, I guess. you know, these two women on the Looking Glass.
Sure. Yeah. Bonnie.
Yeah, I think, and I think that what I want to believe is that the women or whoever else is down there, I think that they have not been in contact with Ben, and the sub is gone, and I think that they are probably thinking they're stuck down there. Now, I guess they could swim out like Charlie did if they really need to get out of there, and I think I read somewhere that people saw scuba suits in the background, so maybe they have a way out of there, but it seems like to me that they're kind of out of contact with Ben. Presumably like Ben, like they had, like the others have said several times, like we said before, that their communications don't work. So, maybe they can't use the walkies or however else they communicate. I mean, the flame is gone. I mean, how else are they going to communicate with them underwater? I guess. I mean, do walkie-talkies work underwater? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anybody used a walkie-talkie underwater before? And your underwater station?
That's a weird situation. I don't know how often you get a chance to do that. It might work. I don't know.
It might work.
The signal would have to go through the water.
Yeah. I mean, is the water too dense for a radio signal to pass without interference?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
I mean, they can do some kind of transmission through the water, I think, but I don't know about a walkie-talkie. So who do you think the people are? Do you think they're others, or are they Dharma, or what's their deal?
Well...
Who are these people?
Who are these people, and where do they dry clean their clothes? Speaking of dry cleaning, that's my really bad Seinfeld. How do they get it clean without water? Okay.
The water's everywhere, and it's
who are these people? Are they others? Are they Dharma? I want to believe that they are others. The idea that they're Dharma people who have been there the whole time. They're fairly young looking.
They are young looking.
Early 30s at the latest, looks like. So the Purge was what? How many years ago was the Purge, maybe?
I don't know.
At least 16?
Do you think it was that long ago?
The Purge?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, here's my thinking.
Well...
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if Ben got there when he was around 10 or 12, and that was in the early 70s, and now he's late 40s, so that's 30 years, so that would have been the 90s. So, yeah, that's about 16 years. That's about 16 years. Early 90s to, they're in 2004 now, right?
Yeah, 16 years ago would be 88.
Yeah, so that's around the right time.
Here's my problem with that. Kelvin. He was in the Gulf War, and that was, actually in the 90s, definitely past 88. I believe it was 90 or 91 or something like that. We saw him there with Saeed, and I believe he was recruited by Dharma, and I think if the Purge had already happened, I don't see them recruiting him. I feel like he was recruited pre-Purge. So I want to put the Purge a little later. I'll say like 94, 93, something like that. Something more like 10 years ago.
Wow. That means that really, I just thought about that. That means that Dharma and the others were fighting for a long time.
Yeah, it does.
I thought the Purge wasn't that long, but I mean, by the time Kelvin got there, they were still calling them hostiles. Well, that's the thing. Kelvin was calling them hostiles, but it still could have been after the Purge when Kelvin was there.
He was there after the Purge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when he was recruited originally, I think was before the Purge.
Yeah. But it's in a range of a couple years, and I wonder how how accurate they're trying to be with that whole thing.
True.
You know.
True.
He could have been recruited, you know, got to the island the day before the purge or something.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah. True. I mean, Ben looked, you know, I mean, they used Michael Emerson when the purge happened. So, you know, they did try to make him look younger, I think, but you know, they gave him a little more of a laid back hair style.
Well, they actually gave him hair. They changed his hairline.
Oh, he had extra hair?
He had extra hair. Yeah.
I thought they just like combed it differently, but he had more hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They gave him a more youthful hairline.
Okay. I didn't even really. I thought maybe they just combed it to the side instead of having it the old spiky style. But yeah, okay. So yeah, but he did look, you know, I mean, he was played by the guy who plays him now. So he looked old enough that it could have been 10 years ago. But yeah, it's all very loose, and I think with the flashbacks, they've been kind of loose with the timelines. You know, they're going to tell what they want to tell, you know, and I don't think they're, you know, if the timeline has a little play in it, because they haven't been in general very specific about dates. Although all those things were Ben's birthday.
In general, they haven't been specific.
Yes.
That's funny.
If we knew what Ben's birthdays were,
yeah,
we could have actually probably determined pretty closely, or even exactly when that was supposed to be. If they told us what the modern birthday was and what the purge birthday was. Then we could compute exactly when it happened. But they didn't tell us either age. He just said it was his birthday. He didn't say how old he was. So that left them with some room to play around.
Yay.
So I think, yeah, in general, it's going to be whatever. But I'm just going to go with about 10 years ago for now.
Okay.
But anyway, as far as the people in there, so you think, what did you come down on? They're others or not? Or what are they? I forgot.
That they are others.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess we can go from both sides. If they're remaining Dharma people that are, you know, sort of protecting the station because they know that the hostiles have taken over or whatever, then maybe Ben is lying about the signal that they're broadcasting that signal to block everybody's transmission, you know, or specifically the others' transmissions.
But it wasn't working.
Yeah, that's the thing. The others were able to. I'm playing devil's advocate here. The others were able to, you know, get the video that they showed. What's his name, Jack. You know, they're able to use the flame station and everything, you know, for a while. So. I don't think that these are Dharma former, you know, Dharma members who were trying to, you know, send out a signal to block the others. So the flip side of that is that they're actually others who are working for Ben, which is what I think.
And there was the Juliet stuff too, when she went in there, and there was the news feeds, and there was the live thing they showed her with her sister's baby. So we actually saw it working, I think, not just the Jack thing where it was a tape. So yeah, that's what makes me think it's the other, and the fact that Ben has what?
Sorry. I was just gonna say, wasn't that why Mrs. Clue or Miss Clue went to see Mikhail? Was because the communication wasn't working? Or someone gave an explanation of someone going to the flame because the communication was down. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a theory. I mean, I don't know that that's definitive. I mean,
I thought somebody said that. I thought somebody. But who said that? Are you saying it was a theory in the show?
No, I think it was a theory by a fan. I don't think that was in the show.
I thought that was in the show, that somebody said that.
Maybe it was. If it was in that episode. I don't think they've even talked about her.
What episode? That was 77.
Answer 77, yeah.
Interesting. Let's see. Oh, and that's the other thing. When Locke was playing the chess and he accessed the Marvin Campbell stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Some of the communications weren't working when he pressed some of those choices.
Yeah.
Remember, sonar is inoperable and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
none of it was working, apparently. Which led me to believe, it was the hatch implosion.
Yeah.
What are you looking up? Oh, Enter 77.
Yeah.
To see if they said anything explaining Miss Clue.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing was weird. That whole thing was really weird.
Mikhail was there for 11 years. Okay.
It just seemed like they had...
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Oh, Saeed says they're not alone, and Locke says, you think the others sent someone out here to keep him company? And Saeed said, they sent someone out here because they lost communication.
Ah.
That's the line I'm talking about.
Okay, there you go.
Which I think makes sense that they would do that. Oh, we can't communicate, which that we've seen them say before, and they send Miss Clue out there to figure out what's going on with the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another thing to say that communications really weren't working.
I guess that wasn't a fan theory. Mm-mm-mm.
No, it wasn't. If a fan said that, they were right, because Saeed said it too.
That was Saeed's theory.
Yeah.
And he's probably right. I mean...
When is he wrong?
Yeah. Although I think it barely matters. I mean,
yeah.
Except for your point.
Yeah.
That whole thing just it really just feels like, what's the word? Cleaning up their mess.
Yeah.
We got this character floating around, and she's not going to be around, so let's kill her.
Cleaning up your mess sounds familiar. What's that from?
That's from Further Instructions. That's what Boone told Locke.
Okay, yeah.
Clean up your mess.
Clean up your mess.
And that was saving Echo, so he can die.
All right, what was your point you were trying to make?
Oh, did I have a point?
Yeah.
Oh.
Something about the women maybe in the station. What do you think? Who do you think they are?
Oh God. Yeah, I tend to, for now, I tend to agree with you. It's other.
For now, until you find out in the next episode what the truth is?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. I guess what I'm saying
how
is...
very pragmatic of you.
I guess what I'm saying... Yeah, well, that's me.
I'm going to go with what you say until I find out what the real answer is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at second guessing them. So, since Juliet knew about the place, Ben had a story about the place, I'm going to assume, obviously the others know about it. So there's that. And they have a sub, so they could have gone in there, if they knew where it was. And so I'm gonna say that the people who are down there are following Ben's orders, and they're now they are pretty young, so I don't know what to say about that, but I think they're working for Ben, and they are going to and what's my point, and that the story he's telling is not true, but
yeah. And that's the point to continue for me, is that if they are working for Ben, then they're sort of working for him secretly, because he must. Does that mean that maybe Mikhail knew that it wasn't really flooded, because maybe when Ben went to talk to them, however often he talks to the people down there to give them instructions, presumably he would need to do that at the Flame, or however, I don't know how he would talk to them otherwise.
He could take the sub down.
Huh?
He could take the sub down.
But that's the thing. You can't just go take the sub when you're telling people that the station is flooded. Like, oh, Ben, you're gonna go to the flooded station? Okay, have fun drowning. That's the thing. He can't just go take the sub, because he's not the one driving the sub, and
you don't think
he can't.
So?
No, he's not the one piloting the sub. And that's the thing. So he can't just be like, oh, I'm going to take the sub out for a spin around the island.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of imagining. He doesn't tell him where he's going.
No. That doesn't. They would find out. I don't want to buy that. They would find out what's going on there, where he went, and
that is a bad plan. I have to agree.
Yeah. So he's got to be communicating with them in some other way where it can be more secretive. Maybe only a few people really know that it's not flooded.
Mm-hmm.
Even that's the thing. Juliet, as a scientist, I just don't see how she buys that it's flooded, but it still works. That kind of thing doesn't make any sense, and that she wouldn't even say maybe Ben's lying.
Yeah.
At this point, she should know he's a liar and manipulative, and he'll do anything, to get what he wants. So I think she should at least have some doubt about that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem to, make that come across.
She just believes it.
Just believes it.
Oh, he lies about this other stuff, but this is true. This is true.
This is true.
This is even implausible, but it's just got to be true.
Yeah, and I mean, how are they? What kind of communication equipment do they have that's blocking all signals? That's not an easy thing to do, I would imagine.
Well,
but, it's one thing to block certain frequencies, but they're blocking a satellite phone, which works on a direct line of sight communication. How do you block something like that?
Hey.
They're not blocking radio waves. They're blocking direct line of sight communication. So I don't know how he's doing that.
Just that good.
Just that good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is 70s technology. It's not realistic, but I guess I'm going to believe that somehow they have a thing that can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And just go along with it, even though it's not reasonable.
Yeah, here's another thing. This is all I feel like I'm just ragging on the episode, but there's a lot of crappy stuff I didn't like. Saeed has done this before, where he's trying, when he was trying to triangulate the signal of the radio tower, he should have thought to triangulate the signal of of what's blocking the signal, all the signals from the island, so they could utilize all their forces on one thing. Maybe they didn't have time. You can argue that. But they were like, we don't have time to triangulate. We just need to go split up, which I think is a viable plan. But they could have, I think, also thought to try to triangulate the signal so they know it's the underwater station or it's the radio tower that's blocking. They could have done that since he did that before.
Yeah.
And Locke's not around to hit him on the head this time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And he could even maybe use the sat phone to figure out, the signal is stronger from this direction. If I walk towards this direction, the signal gets stronger, so therefore it's coming from this direction. And, Yeah. There's a lot of little things that I would expect him to at least bring up that they didn't, so.
I agree. Do you want to talk a little bit about the plan changes?
The very many plan changes in this episode? I do, because number 2 on my pissed list was Jack saying, number 2. Speaking of time, we got 33 seconds, minutes.
Wow.
33 minutes before this podcast ends, because it's gonna kick us out at 3 hours. But anyway, so let me talk faster. I just really hate it when, at this point, let me start by saying, let me set the stage by saying, to borrow a phrase, if I may.
Please.
I don't like Jack anymore.
Okay.
He's gone the way of Locke. I gave Jack some chances. I know he went through a lot in the beginning of the season. And I think what happened to him in those early episodes really did change him, which is great for character development. It's great that he's a different person now, and we can get the sense he really lived through those experiences. But it just sucks that he's worse as a person, and some of the things he does and says I really hate. So when Charlie comes and says, "Hey, I can swim. Why don't I go and do the swim thing, and then and you guys can do the main plan, which is blowing the others to hell." And he goes, "No, you guys want me to make a decision. I'm making the decision, and we're not going to do that. There's no reason to do it." to do both of them right now. And I'm thinking, well, the reason to do both of them now is if the primary plan fails, you'll have a backup of trying to communicate and get everyone rescued, which is something he realizes, 3 scenes later.
Yeah.
And I just hate when the writers make these, like, hard, fast, de facto statements that really aren't as hard and fast as they seem. The same with Desmond trying to flip-flop later with, no, Charlie, this time you have to die. And then later, oh, well, maybe I can swim down there instead. Who knows? Who cares? It's like, wait, you just said before he has to die. Now you're saying, oh, maybe he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the flip-flopping.
Characters should be able to change their minds. I don't think that's bad in general.
I think they can change their minds, but that's the thing. It's habitual with the writers of the show, specifically how they change their minds. That if Jack had gave like a concrete answer as to why he doesn't want to do both at the same time, but then gets like new information and then changes his reason, I think that's plausible. But to just be bullheaded, and that's the thing. It's like it's just a bad character trait. If he's just being bullheaded to be bullheaded, that's just a bad character trait.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. But I think there's a way to have your cake and eat it too. I think there's a way to say let's not do both plans right now, and then later say okay, let's do both plans. But it's not hey, I'm the leader. I say what I say goes, and let's just leave it at that. Like that's just crappy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's all about the way it plays out, and if the mind changing is ridiculous, then it doesn't work.
It just they do it so many times.
But the amazing thing about this episode to me is like more than any episode I can remember, like the plans change like so much.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and okay, here's the first plan.
The first plan was to rig the tents with dynamite and use the wire to explode them from a distance.
And they were all going to pretty much stay there.
Yeah,
I
don't know. Well, that's the thing. They really shouldn't have stayed there because they were going to get blown up by the dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Because by how much dynamite they had, like they really are going to blow them to hell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in the tent next to the tent that gets blown up.
I guess what I meant, I didn't think they would stand by, the tent. I just meant they weren't going to trek off to some other location.
Yeah.
They would sort of.
But that's the thing. They should have trekked off somewhere.
Yeah.
But they didn't sort of specifically say that.
Yeah. It seemed like they were all just going to stay there to fight and stand up for themselves and all that nonsense. And then Carl shows up. Oh, they're coming right now. Don't have enough wire. Okay, we'll have to shoot the dynamite. And there's like conflicting things. And then Saeed, thinks the problem with the satellite phone is the radio tower blocking it. And so they have to go there, and then Juliet says, no, it's this other thing. So that brings about, like, 2 plan changes.
Yeah.
Right there. Originally they're going to go to the tower for that reason, and then and Jack specifically tells Charlie not to do the swimming to the station thing, and then later, they decide to do both, presumably going to the tower for shelter now, and
which
doing.
They have no idea how big the tower is, how far it is, how dangerous it is. They never ask Rousseau any of those questions. Can it even house, around 40 people? And it's weird because, of course, you don't expect the little bitty things like that to be in the show because it wastes screen time, blah, 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 blah. But then, of course, we get to nitpick because they didn't do it, so.
Yeah, well, I remember back in season 1, their original plan was to hide in the Swan. from the others, because they were seeing the smoke and oh shit, the others are coming.
Yeah. I remember saying the same thing about that, about them not knowing how big the spawn was, what the conditions were like inside.
Yeah.
And the same thing with they just go on blind faith. The same with just swim down and cut the switch off, like of this flooded station. They just seem to have blind faith that everything's going to work out. When they make up these plans, And I guess desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's worth a try, even if it might fail. I think it's worth trying. So so I don't blame them for trying, even if there might be some insurmountable obstacle that prevents them from doing it. They don't really know. So it's possible that they could do it. So
that's the thing. I don't blame them for trying. I blame them for not considering the risks. Which I think, especially Jack. Jack being the leader. Yeah. He should consider the risks. Especially being a surgeon. I mean, that's what you do. It's like, I could go in and do this surgery or whatever, but what are the risks? Yeah. The surgery might cure you, but what are the risks to that? So he should know a thing or two about risk assessment.
He should, but I guess I wanted to say there's a precedent for not considering the viableness of a shelter.
Oh yeah. This isn't the first bad writing thing they've done.
So, and like specifically the same kind of problem. So anyway, I think it's the same kind of thing going on. We have a very similar kind of setup for the finale as the season 1 finale. The 3 groups going off in different places, and the others are coming, and so I don't know. It's kind of odd. But anyway, are we? What else do you have?
Let's see.
Piss list or what? Piss list. That's bad.
Rose's little line to Jack, I like you better since you got back, then you're almost an optimist. I feel like the first line is talking to the audience, trying to sway the audience, because I don't like him better since he got back. I think he was a lot better before he left, before he got kidnapped, and I feel like they're trying to, some sort of like subconscious, communication there. Like, yeah, I like him since he got back too. Like, no, I don't. You're not fooling me, writers.
I got the sense she wasn't serious about that. Or maybe she's saying he was so pessimistic before he left that what he just said counts as optimism.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he's been more optimistic since he got back. I think he's always been pretty much filled with hope in those dire situations that they can get through it. I wouldn't agree that he's more of an optimist now than before. I don't know. At first I thought she was joking, but then, the way it came off, it seemed like she was being honest. I like you better now.
But saying that he's almost, what he just said was like, well, let me even read the line.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if she would have said, you're so optimistic, like, that's sarcasm. But to say you're almost an optimist, like, that seems like an appropriate thing to say, because he's not really an optimist. He kind of is.
Yeah, I'll give you my word that if we don't kill everyone that shows up here in about an hour, it's not going to matter where Bernard is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's all. That's almost an optimistic thing to say.
I don't think that's even close to optimism.
I think it is. I think it's like skewed optimism. It's it's saying. I get what she means by that, by that line. I don't think she's being. I think she's being sarcastic, but I think she sort of means it.
Like what's optimistic about that?
Well, it's not pessimism at all. It's basically it's that weird thing of just the fact that he's saying like it's not going to matter where he is because he's gonna die either way.
And that's optimistic? Yeah,
why not?
Okay. Okay.
The way he says it comes off with like this faux optimism. I think that's her point.
Okay. All right.
Here's a question.
Yep.
Why is the station underwater?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, a lot of times the stations have, their placement, their location is practical to what they were doing.
Yeah.
So,
and what is,
why is this one underwater?
A related question is, what's the point of this station?
Yeah.
Is its only function to block shit? Or is there something else that it's supposed to do?
I definitely think it has a larger function than just to block stuff, block signals.
Yeah, signals, right. So, because it's related to that, like if we knew what the purpose was, maybe it'd be easier to make a guess as to why it's underwater.
I wonder if the signal, like the signal that's blocking all the other signals, I wonder if it's a product of whatever the station main function is. Maybe if it does have some sort of wormhole creating machine or whatever craziness that the station is about, maybe it just naturally creates that signal.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I see. I see what your point is. I thought of something else, and then I didn't get your point because I was thinking. Now I see what you're saying. That's just a byproduct, like a side effect.
Yeah, and that may be the only way to, stop the signal is to, activate the drive or whatever it does, or deactivate the machines, or,
So I want to throw out. I believe Alice in Wonderland, the actual title, the original title of it was Through the Looking Glass. That's actually what the title was. And
I thought the sequel was called Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that's what I read.
There was a sequel?
Yeah, like the second book. I think that's what I read. The second book is called Through the Looking Glass, What Alice Saw, or something like that. I think it was on Wikipedia, and I think it said something like Alice is not even I don't know if she's even the main character in Through the Looking Glass.
Ah, you're right. It was originally called Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through the second one's called Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. So I guess she is the main character because that's what it says in the beginning.
Is that the whole title? Oh, I thought there was like two sequels. Oh, okay, I see. Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. Yeah. Somehow I got the idea that was the real original title, and they changed it. Anyway, the point I wanted to make was what? Oh, in the story, she goes through the Looking Glass, and that's how she gets to Wonderland. And so I think that provides some sort of, this station is called the Looking Glass, and it provides some sort of vague evidence that the station has some kind of portal-like function to getting to the island or something like that. It's all very vague, but that was what the Looking Glass was in the story that they're clearly referring to. So I want to throw out, maybe it is some kind of gateway or something like that. I don't know how that works. Wormhole. I mean, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a possibility. At least that's what the illusion points.
Well, that's sort of the obvious idea. That's the most direct idea, which I think is interesting. But that's the thing. Ben said that they have a sonar beacon, which I don't think they said this, but I think that's what we were led to believe early on was that that cable, which we now sort of will think of as an anchor for the Looking Glass, that cable was actually like a power conduit or information conduit to the offshore sonar beacon, which Ben said used to guide the sub to the island. Now, maybe the idea now is that the Looking Glass station has a sonar beacon built into it, so he wasn't really lying. He just sort of admitted the fact that the sonar was part of a station, which would have been weird to find out back then.
Yeah.
So the idea is that that the submarine finds the island by that sonar beacon. Now, I mean, is he telling the truth or not? I mean, that's, who knows. Maybe the Looking Glass creates some sort of portal or something. But I think it's, I don't think it's too crazy to think that if you know where you're going, you can get to the island. And that, like Ben said, that was the whole point, that the sonar beacon didn't work anymore, and so once the sub leaves, it won't be able to get back. Now, is he lying? We go back and forth on whether or not the other's communication works. It doesn't really seem like it should be working because they've said many times it's not. So that would mean that the sonar beacon should still be working also. So maybe he was lying about they can't get back once you leave. But what's the whole point of lying about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like my point is, I don't think obviously they go whatever way, but I don't think the island is that crazy to where you would need something as crazy as a portal through space-time to get to and from the island.
It certainly appears Naomi got there via helicopter.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people have said that it seems like they get to the island very fast, which I would agree that is the perception, that they get there faster than a submarine could probably take you.
Yeah.
But who knows? They could just fly somewhere and then the sub is fairly close.
Yeah, which is what I thought was going on anyway. I never imagined the sub was going all the way, personally.
Okay, and now that makes me think about the whole thing about the Paula Ferry, which is where people, yeah, right? I mean, maybe the idea is that, people get on the sub, not really in Portland, and then the sub is transported to the Looking Glass, and then it docks undocks from the Looking Glass, and then goes to the Paula Ferry, and then that's where people walk out from.
Mhm.
I don't know. To me, it seems really weird and cumbersome that they even have this idea that the sub docks at the Looking Glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird to me. We'll see what the point of that is.
Well, I mean, it gives a plausible way to get there.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, I would think they would maybe have a smaller version of a sub, like a mini sub, because that submarine's really big. At least it looks really big, and it seems like a big ordeal to use that just to go to the station all the time. But they could just have a smaller little, those like little 2-seater subs that everybody has these days.
Yeah, of course. Sweeping the nation.
The little the mini subs for the people who brought you the people who brought you the Mini Cooper comes the mini sub.
They love it.
For the yuppie with their own underwater station.
Use it in the swimming pool.
No offense to anyone who has a Mini Cooper.
Of course. Why would we want to offend anyone with a Mini Cooper?
Anyway.
Yeah. Maybe there was another sub. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't think so though. I think it is supposed to be the big sub, and it's all cumbersome. But what are you gonna do?
Do you have a lot left on your list?
Oh, I got nothing.
Oh, you got nothing. Okay.
I'm out. It's all you.
Okay. So it's all me, great. I just want to know. One of the things I wanted to mention, because we only have like 12 more minutes.
Okay.
And if we had a lot of stuff, I wouldn't mind starting up another talk cast. But I think we're done. There's not a whole bunch more to talk about.
Yeah.
I got a couple more things, and maybe we can bring up some stuff that our listening audience maybe want to bring up. So let me finish my little list here. I didn't notice it the first time I saw the episode, but the second time I noticed that Hurley has Vincent when they're all leaving.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is interesting that they decided to write Vincent in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He's absent so much. I don't think anybody remembers he's even on the island.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people have him, and sometimes he's gone for 20 episodes. Who knows?
Yeah.
He's a strange dog.
Sorry.
What's going on?
Let's see. That line that Desmond gives to Charlie as one of the reasons why Desmond should go down for the swim thing instead of Charlie, he goes, "I might be luckier than you." I'm like, how so, Desmond? What does that mean? You might be luckier. Does he mean in general, like he might be luckier? Like I'm not the one whose fate is trying to kill? Maybe that's what he means by that line. I didn't know.
I think that's what he means, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing. He says that, I think, right after he says, maybe it's me who is supposed to die. So, and that's the thing. That's just bad writing to me, to have a line precipitated by, oh, maybe this whole time it's me who was supposed to change places with you, and I was supposed to be the one that died. Maybe I'm luckier than you. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, buddy. What
yeah, I think maybe I'm luckier than you is like sort of an alternate theory. Maybe I'm supposed to die, or maybe I'll just be luckier than you.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the way I thought he meant it.
Huh. So what are your predictions for who's going to die in the finale?
Oh boy. Who's going to die in the finale? I'm going to go with Charlie.
Okay.
For an obvious guess. He might not die, but I'm just going to say he will so I can make a stand on something.
Okay.
Besides that, some probably incidental non-characters, I think are up for grabs. People whose names we don't know. I think maybe Tom might die.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, what are they going to do with him at this point? Why not just get rid of him?
Yeah, I think Tom is important because I think what's interesting is you have the three main others besides like Ben and those people. You have the three main henchmen others. You've got Albert, who is almost anti-Ben.
Yeah.
You've got Tom, and then you've got Ryan, who is almost 100% pro-Ben.
Yeah.
And then in the middle you have Tom,
yeah,
who is transitioning from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his role is important in that. He's kind of the litmus test, of the current situation, because I think Ryan has been pro-Ben for a long time, and Albert has been increasingly anti-Ben for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think for the audience, it's they're going to be looking to see what Tom says on these situations. So to get rid of him, I think is bad because he fits that little mold really well. But that being said, he could go. I think who else could die? I don't think Bernard's going to die.
As far as main characters, I think you don't think so.
No.
I don't think he's going to die either, but. I don't know. I mean, Rose and Bernard, are they just going to keep having them be like one episode characters?
Well, I just don't see them getting rid of Bernard and having Rose mope again like she did in season 1. There's sort of no point in that. Like if it's like Sun and Jen. It's like they need to both go or both stay. Like
maybe they'll both die.
And maybe they're I don't know.
I agree, though. You can't have one of them die and go back to the moping.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, I meant to mention about this trek to the radio tower, is that they're totally unarmed. They only have 3 guns between all of them.
Yeah.
And, I thought it may have been prudent for Russo to keep her gun so that, they could, if they come across, any dangers on their way up there, that somebody's armed. Otherwise, they're really out of luck. And why do they need 3 guns anyway? And why mark 3 tents? Why not just mark 2 tents and have 2 guns?
Yeah.
Because the only contenders to be taken are really Sun, Kate, and then the third is like who? Who's the third one supposed to be? Somebody that they just made up. So it seems like they could have just, marked 2 tents, and then let Rousseau keep her gun, and then have someone who has a weapon, who the safety of 90% of their people should be ensured in some way.
Mhm.
Sure. So what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's bad planning.
I mean, maybe Sawyer still has his gun that doesn't work, with no bullets in it.
Yeah. The only good thing I think about more tents is, if they split up, it seems like you might be able to get more people. If they split up and go to the different tents, like if you had one tent, for instance, I mean, they would all go there, and I wouldn't expect them all to like crowd around it.
That's the thing, though. If all of the others go to one tent and that tent explodes, they're all dead. Like, even if they just stand outside of the tent, like, they have enough dynamite to level pretty much that whole campground. So I think if they had, 10 sticks of dynamite in one tent and they set that off, anybody within, a 10, 15, 20-foot range at least, I think it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, one isn't the best. I think 2 is pretty good, and 3 is, I think overkill only in the sense that they could use another gun for the people going to the radio tower. Definitely more is better in general, though. I agree. But that's the thing, with more tents, more can go wrong, too,
True.
So.
True. You don't want that first shot to go off and, oh shit, I missed. And
yeah, but Bernard, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I know, right?
And that's the other thing, too. This is a very dangerous, they make it seem like this is a very easy thing to do. Oh, we'll just shoot the tents from the tree line. Well, they're going to be coming from the tree line.
Yeah.
It might be a very similar thing to what happened when...
Glass Ballerina?
When Jen and Sun and
Saeed
were all hanging around waiting for the others, and they came up behind them. Same sort of thing is going to happen. They don't, who's watching their backs while they're aiming their guns at the tents? Who's watching their backs? Because that's where they're going to be coming from, is the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, unless they are sort of thinking that they're gonna swim up in some sort of boat or something.
Yeah.
And they just sort of didn't really intimate that, but that's what they're thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. They're all crazy.
Not thinking much, if you ask me.
Me too.
So what do you guys, we got a couple of minutes here. You guys want to throw out questions or your theories about what's going to happen in the finale, or any big questions in this episode? I got a no.
No. I haven't seen the promo, so I can't talk about it. I don't think you have either, right?
I have not seen the promo.
So
I don't watch the promos anymore.
Yeah, I have been watching it, but I'm not going to watch one for the finale. And I feel like every word I said is wasted now because time's ticking. I want to say stuff that counts. What?
Yeah. Don't stop the show. Oh, that's sad.
I don't want it to stop. Give us good stuff to talk about so we can have a good 3 minutes.
Yeah. Speaking of 3 minutes.
Yeah. How about that?
Come on, guys. I know you got burning questions like.
Let's discuss string theory real quick.
String theory is very, very interesting. I could have a nice discussion about string theory. Saw a very nice PBS thing about string theory. Yeah. It's complicated. You're right.
That's one where it's actually true.
Oh, wow.
That's
the first time it's complicated has ever been said, and it's actually been true.
Can't really sum that one up in a few sentences. That's
Yeah, okay, the I'm Alive by Charlie. Charlie always fouls things up. That's rule number one. He's right behind Locke on that list. People who screw things up all the time. I really hated that when he first started screaming, "I'm alive, I'm alive." I'm like, okay, you won't be for long, because I'm like, you don't do that. Like, he should have known something was up when he reached the moon pool. He saw it wasn't flooded. He should have known something was up. He should have been, oh my God, what's going on? Now, granted, he was like, about to, drown because he had to hold his breath for so long. Which screen time, it was only like a minute or something like that, but I think, they cut it for our sakes. I don't think he could have really swam, 70, 80 meters down, which is like 250 feet or something like that.
I just want to say before they cut off.
Go.
I just want to say real quick. Charlie. I don't expect Charlie to be very good at like analyzing situations, and also I thought after the swim and stuff, it was plausible for him to be happy to be alive, even if he's not referring to the prophecy specifically. Just happy that he survived the swim. So like I bought the whole thing that he said I'm alive and even screamed it. Like I could be, I could imagine being really happy in that situation. So I don't blame Charlie for doing that. Anyway.
I agree.
I just wanted to say that.
I still think, I still blame him because I think it's stupid to scream that so obviously. It's one thing to be like, oh, I'm alive, and thinking it and being, but to scream it like that was obviously just for them to have somebody come out and say something.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, I think we will see
Locke.
I think we will see Locke.
You better
in the
namaste
finale.
pretty fucking quick.
I think we'll definitely see Locke in the finale.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck. Ooh.